Oh, did I?
It's just as I was.
Sure. Thank you.
And read the code.
Pretty savvy. You're pretty, yeah.
It's, I mean, it's basically just. I had to look at mine.
Just say.
I don't want to.
I can't think so.
I had to look at mine.
Picture that. Good. How are you doing?
Great.
How would you drive up to Park City?
Do it online. Hey.
Get on this, yeah.
Wait, and I that's this newer one I sent you.
Okay, so you weren't enjoying the lead. That's what I thought you did.
We're over.
Okay.
But I, because I can talk while I drive, but not.
That's true.
I'm getting rid of that. It's like.
Were the leaves changing quite a bit up there?
They're changing. They're not like. No, I don't know if there's something in there. Like, why are we doing this?
We were in Woodland on Monday. Together. Week Monday, they were changing. Where's Woodland? By Camas, just go straight.
Yeah, way.
I believe plan.
This long time ago.
Like it last Friday, it was changing.
16. I
feel like something like that.
This is not.
Yes.
So it's.
I think he's getting sick. Yeah.
Get a window, that's all.
He's on.
I don't want to be into it all day. Is that you?
To see them actually working over here. I'm not checked their style guide.
You're close. You're close.
So many. Speak better like that. Used to understand. We train.
Especially.
Oh, maybe down the road.
Yeah, something good.
Oh, it's just good.
That's good.
So that's what. No, it's not.
Probably not too many people that are doing.
I was like, not do that.
Sorry, no joke.
I think it's.
Did you really?
I don't know.
Chance we get time as a soccer center.
Well, once I get in July,
I was thinking to county. So
she really be here. And he wanted to go to some. So they got.
That's great. I worry you're like.
It's like trying to get away. Well, good for you. That's like.
I think it is. Well, since here.
Not on the mountain.
For extensive results.
I think that's what Don is.
Just chat.
Well, like,
Show on the road.
yeah, I gotta kind
If you're gonna show anything, once you're preloaded. Yeah. It's like a little thing that it downloads.
No, right now.
football.
They'll take a minute.
Great season. I know.
Don't overpower McKay. So we doing his presentation.
Like, I won't complain.
No, it's easy.
They won. Somebody else.
The final score wasn't that.
Where was I?
20s. I thought you were out of town.
I came back last night.
50.
I was gonna be here today. I just wasn't gonna be here yesterday when I needed to normally post. So we were, they were being nice.
That's what. This is my son.
Yeah, this year it's hard to expect too much.
All our receivers were amazing.
I think we just get what his feet under. That's what these are stuff that's appropriate. Got them to you, right?
Take you back to.
What's his name? Really? Yes, that's what I did.
Not for me. Show us.
Starting with mine.
So that you automatically. I appreciate that the mayor, you know. Takes to it.
It's funny. Italian accent. Yes. You know, Swiss Italian. That behind you, that's where the flag poles will be. What is this? Is this the flag? What is it? This is the pergola. So you know the pergola on the south side.
I think it was Ryan.
Flagpole. It's pretty big for a flag. Flags or the horses here, and then the Hullstrom family monument.
Just this. Yeah, for Jimmy.
Are we done?
Just me. Sure.
Not so bad.
They're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, I'd like to welcome everyone here this afternoon. I apologize for running late. We're in the thick of tax season, very end of the end of tax season, so.
We got a month.
Not really. Anyway. Yeah, September 15th. Welcome, and let's go ahead and start this meeting. And we start out with item 2.1. With myOrem update. Hey, Barton, from software.
Thank you, Mayor. So today I would just like to give a brief status update on how the myOrem initiative is progressing. As a reminder, this initiative is set to launch in January. The initiative is that all city business that needs to be conducted where whether citizens or other business entities need to interact with the city, they have one single unified location with which to do it. Currently, that is split up among several different websites, each with their own unique logins. This simplifies it into a single login experience. Log in once and you are authorized to do everything you need to do for your interactions with the city. The two features that we'll be rolling out with this initiative are going to be our utility billing and our business licensing program. Currently, we are working on wrapping up the business licensing side of things, and we'll be starting the utility billing rewrite this week. Every other thing that you see up here on the screen is a link out to an existing application that will then be rewritten into the new ecosystem. So, with business licensing, we have a new portal, a new look for it, with the ability to apply for any of our current licenses. Another feature of this myOrem initiative is the unified wallet. So your credentials, your user, and your payment methods will all be stored if you so choose for them to be. So we can easily have that same payment information be used from your finances over the fitness center to your utilities, to your cemetery, everything in between, so you're not re-entering those. So that is where things currently stand. As we progress, the timeline is over the next few years, we're going to continue to write new applications. We'll refresh the older ones and store them in here for our citizens to use and enjoy. Any questions about this status update? Okay.
Does that payment, you choose multiple payments, so still choose potentially if you use a card for utilities, but use a separate card?
Yes. Yes, it allows you to store multiple different types of payment, whether that be banking information, credit cards, etc. And then you can choose that when you get to the checkout phase, you can choose which one you would like to use.
I think this is a great. Excuse me. No, I think that's a great upgrade that the city's doing, just to have that all in one place and organized and nice and clean. It's nice to send people to one place, to deal with any kind of payment. So I think that's a fantastic upgrade.
We're super excited for it too. And from a security standpoint, from internals in the city, this is also a huge security benefit to the city. Rather than having all of these bespoke programs, we're simplifying it so that when there is any security threat to our public facing programs, we're able to deal with it much quicker than we currently are able to. So we're super excited for this as well.
I would just also say that this, I mean, we already have the demand for this, and sometimes we get, complaints that the right hand of Orem doesn't know what the left hand of Orem is doing, and so this will help a lot with preventing those kinds of concerns. So we're really looking forward to it.
Huge win. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you all for letting me present.
Thank you. Thank you. Next up, item 2.2, downtown study. Gary McGinn.
Yes. You get the button. Okay. Yeah, so it goes red.
There we go.
Hey, we went on a summer tour, and all of you who drove with me, congratulations on picking well. You were able to go quickly and safely everywhere you wanted to go without delay. Those who didn't, I'm sorry. But what we wanted to talk about is we had a presentation recently from our consultant on the heart of downtown. And they went and talked about where we are so far in making a draft. They've come out, they've gotten some feedback from us. There's a draft document that's come out. And now, after the tour and the document, we wanted to spend some time and talk about whether you have any more specific feedback or ideas that have come up. What we wanted to accomplish by going to Harriman and to the ball field there in Daybreak was to look at public spaces and get some ideas about things that you may like about it, things that you may not like about it, and kind of spark some ideas and just thinking about our heart of downtown. Not that we want to take, say, Harriman and replicate it here, or build a ballpark here at Sarah Park, but how they use the space. And maybe to get the conversation going, one of the things, let's see, to talk about, let's bring up, oops, wrong one. We will, where is it? So it's here's Harriman that we went and looked at, and here is the ballpark, and here's from their website. You can see a little more looking at the area where we came in, and this is the big plaza area. One of the things I didn't realize that with the stage or pavilion that they've built here, this area functions as, in the summer, you go to concerts, you can have gathering space where people will come and sit. In the winter, this actually turns into an ice skating rink. And it's a bigger location than just the ribbon that we saw here at Harriman. So Harriman has the ribbon that comes around like this, and they have a little knuckle right there where people can get out of the ribbon and look at things. And so just some ideas. We also gave you a handout that had some other areas from around the state that had elements that might be interesting to us. You know, we looked at Regent Street in Salt Lake where they close a street. and just some different things that we have. So just wanted to see if there's any more specific feedback or conversations about absolutely we don't like, A, but B makes sense of what we want to do. And this is hard to get your arms around, and not trying to put you on the spot, but just to see if there's some reactions about what you saw and how it could possibly function in Orem.
So two things that I don't know if you wrote down, if you guys took notes on, but the staff or whatever said to me is, have your Zamboni go right onto the ice instead of the garage, line up with the ice, right?
Oh, here's the garage.
Yeah, and they said that was a mistake they made. And then they also said that don't put deciduous trees around the ice rink because the little leaves and branches and things fall on there. I wouldn't have even thought about that. Did you guys get that?
Yeah, and those are interesting things. And along that line, I had somebody from our parks maintenance crew reach out to me and said, as you're doing this, here's a handful of things to think about just from a maintenance standpoint. It was like, okay, that's actually very helpful and very interesting, because I can guarantee you I would not have thought of that.
I loved at the ball field, that area that you were pointing out. I loved the way everything was situated, kind of focusing on that central area. I would love to go up there sometime on Friday night and just kind of see what it feels like and it seems like from the way they were describing it and the way everything looked, it looked like it would just be a fun place to be.
Are you talking about, Jeff, the area where that ice rink? Yeah.
With the
You
turf
could
that,
have turf or ice.
yeah, and with the doors that roll back and,
So here's the turf at the ball field. And this is taken from the light rail station. And my daughter lives a light rail station north of here. And I was telling somebody, she's seen the Beatles there. She's seen Taylor Swift there. They're all tribute bands, but she's a young adult and just loves going to this area. And when I told her that this is an ice skating rink in the winter, she was like, I would have had no idea. And it kind of extends the season in which you can use things in that area.
One thing that I heard from some of the staff there at the ball fields was that the food retail that they're bringing in, they're trying to focus on Utah specific, sort of homegrown type food retail. So it's like, is it a Hyersburg Big H?
Hires Big H was
Big H, and then forget what the ice cream was, but it was
Rockwell.
Rockwell, yeah.
So not,
That's really what I want to say. I want to pass.
no franchises, but more Utah specific. So
right.
I love that idea.
I agree too, that this particular area, really had a lot going forward as far as, because this is obviously this Salt Lake Bees field, which is huge, but in a smaller area, this kind of fits in with potentially what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Something, and when we're talking about an ice dribble, we're also talking about an ice rink. This is just an ice rink here,
Yeah.
but that would be a conversation to have, right? At the end of the day, is the ice rink ribbon going to get more traction? Is the ice rink going to get more? Are we going to do a combo? Nice thing about this is you can have all kinds of performance and different things.
Yeah. And I just switched back now to Harriman. And they have just the ribbon that comes around here, but they have this little knuckle. And just wondering, could they have had room somehow, some way to make that knuckle bigger? And
Don't you have an example in those examples that you gave? Is it Mill Creeks or?
Bountiful.
I can't remember.
Bryce, do you recall? Didn't one ribbon in the state have a rink?
Let's see.
It's Mill Creek. And again, hockey rink is technically correct, but this is pint-sized rink. So separate from the ribbon, but we're not doing U16 hockey on it.
So
I thought that would be an interesting concept with that one end of that was a bigger, called a rink, but area similar to what you saw at the ballpark. Could you put a stage, rink on the one end of it? To then make it multi-use.
And the dual use with the turf is a big deal if you can go turf plus ice.
And one thing that, and I don't know if you guys were there yet, the second group that came, because when we got there, we were chatting with Kelsey and stuff, and they were talking about how when the Miller group took over that area, that they had builders who were bringing in a lot of high density. And that they decided they didn't want to go that direction as much. They had some of the contractors scale it back. Do you guys remember the numbers? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, what they did is they scaled it back and they increased the quality.
Yeah.
Because the original plan was to have mobs of high density, and they scaled it back and increased the quality was what they wound up with.
Yeah, because they wanted to create a stable, not as transient type of a neighborhood, basically.
Yeah.
Right? So.
And I brought up, here's the Mill Creek. This is the area, I think, Brandon, that you're talking about. Where you have the ribbon and, incorporating maybe a bigger area. Jump to, oops. So in our park, one of the drafts that our consultant has come up with is there's a nice ribbon here. There's kind of, some cabanas and different things that might serve that, but they're also talking about something here, kind of a little bandstand or something that you could do things in. And then they would have this area that could be incorporated in it. One of the things that we could do, if that's an interesting idea to the councils, talk to them about, well, how do we incorporate in the summer using a bandstand in this area with a dual use purpose that could be part of, not a full ice skating rink, but something that might be able to fit in this area somehow. And now it becomes a, all season usable area. And it's those types of ideas were the reasons and hope that we had in going on this tour and, to get some of these ideas generating. So if this is something that's interesting to the council, we could talk to the consultant about this kind of idea and concept and see what it would do.
So incorporating both
I like it.
items, both.
Yeah, because we saw that at by the ballpark, and I did not realize that. I knew there was a stage area, but I didn't know enough about it to realize that it was an ice skating rink in the winter. And then getting up there and seeing that, it's like, oh, could we do that? And what, and how do you bring that in conjunction with other things? We know we don't want to mess with the pool. We know we love the shell. So in some of the other areas, how do you do this? Remember, we had that parking area here. In one of their drafts, they're proposing that it come up over here to create more continuous user space in here that's not bisected by parking.
I do have a comment. When they moved the parking, they also, it looks like they moved the pavilion. So there's a pavilion that is currently there.
Yeah, there's currently a big pavilion. It's about right here, I would guess.
Yeah. So I think one of the great things that the pavilion offers is as groups rent out the Sarah, they can have a big dinner there and then move on over into the pool facility. So I'm thinking, and in the winter, it could be they have some kind of fun event there and then move on over to the ice skating. So I think keeping a pavilion or seating area somewhere would be useful and helpful and in hosting events like that, because currently that's how the space is being used, but now you can connect them more. So I think that's something to consider. And then the other thought I had was, one of the things that made that ballpark facility so great was they had public transportation just right up to it. So I don't know what the public transportation plans are for this, but I would hope that we would incorporate that into our plans.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that the consultant suggested is that we do need to sit down with, we know their UTA has buses on State Street now. There are buses running. That we meet with UTA and say, okay, this is what we're doing here. How can you, with what you're doing currently, support us? You know, and I don't know what shape that takes. It could be, you know, a better bus stop that looks good, is more inviting to get people in. You know, but it's something that I think it was a good idea.
It could be the timing of their schedules, so they match up with when we're doing events, right?
Exactly. You know, or you know, and I know it's not a BYU football game, but they change the routing of UVX to get buses in. So maybe there are things that we could do when we have large events that we could work with them on scheduling. But I think that's something we really need to sit down with UTA and say, okay, how can you specifically support Orem City in accomplishing what we're trying to accomplish in building community in this area?
Yeah. I do think on that stage, and kind of what you were saying, I mean, the pool is set, the shell is set, the shell has a specific types of productions that it does, right? And we wouldn't want to compete with that, but we could have a stage similar to what we have in Center Park or something.
Yeah.
Whereas we're having different events, we can have bands, we can have small rooms, we can have, you know, and so we would try and tailor it to the types of events that we would do there. So we're not competing with the shell, but we're complementing it.
Yeah. And that's going to take some close coordination with Sarah. And we've been trying to keep Adam in the loop on what we're doing. And he came on the tour with us to look at some of these things. And, you know, nothing gets parents and grandparents in as, you know, activities with kids and trying to, you know, really live up to the Family City USA. How do we get families into this area?
I have two things. So one thing they did mention that the Beast Field was the bikes, how many people rode their bikes to events. So do they have, you know, where do we put bike racks tastefully and where they're secure? It would be one thing I would want to ask the consultants. The other thing is your Quonset huts. That looks cute in a half circle, but I think the purpose is.
Over here?
Yeah, is for the parents, grandparents to be able to sit off to the side and watch the kids. So you've got them, really the most desirable ones are right there by the ice rink. So can you spread them in a more of a line instead of the circular?
Yeah, so everybody has a front row
Everybody can
seat.
see the kids skating by.
Gary, so does this call to purchase the building that's down on the corner then?
They're talking about, so the study area is from 8th South down here all the way up to, 4th South? And from over here, Tiger Way, all the way over to Boulevard, thank you. And so they're talking long term in the park. I think what this is intended is if that building ever came up for sale and the city had a chance, and I think Adam even mentioned, you know, maybe 30, 40 years ago, Sarah had the chance to buy that building and they passed on it. That, you know, it could be parking or a parking garage or something that would complement the area, just to be kind of proactively looking, just like there are homes here. I don't think anybody has any plans to, you know, do anything. But if a home came up for availability, we should seriously think about acquiring it to just increase it. And same thing with businesses over here. You know, not that we're trying to, you know, force anybody out, but just as things come up and are available, to keep in mind as we plan now, okay, what if some of these areas did come in? Somebody makes a donation to the city for, you know, tax purposes and things like that. That would be a fantastic win for us. And how do we incorporate that in?
They also had a water feature at the ballpark. It was very, very small.
Yeah.
But they said it worked very well because it was small and it wasn't huge, but gave enough water to cool the kids or whatever. They could put their feet in it. You know, maybe that's something over by the pavilion. I don't know. I know you don't want to take away from the pool, but
I was gonna say, we got a water feature here.
there you go. Get in.
Yeah, but you gotta pay to get in.
Get in. So they had it by the amphitheater, right on the backside. I'm not, we didn't take pictures of it, but
Yeah, and those splash pads are fun things, and kids love them. My grandson was in town, and every night I heard Slash Lad, which is 2-year-old for splash pad. So we would go to Hillcrest to go play at the Slash Lad for hours.
So fun.
And to that point, I remember when we were over Harriman, as far as in their ice ribbon, they had some different water features off to the side.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I don't know if you remember that or not.
yeah.
Just with those water features, it really broke up the landscaping. And I was talking with Bryce about this, but as far as the more we can have different senses, you know, like if we have video screens, if we have water features, and not real expensive ones, but just the change, you know, it makes a big difference in the whole appearance, the feel of the place.
Yeah.
Gary, how many acres are we talking about compared to what we saw?
Yeah, in our park,
Yeah.
off the top of my head, I'd have to look. Ryan, will you look that up?
And then currently we've used that for, old car shows, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, this area out here especially.
And so would those opportunities be gone?
We don't want them to be gone.
Okay.
We're trying to come up with areas that we can keep what we have, enhance them, and add in additional things. Yeah, I think one of the things, and Bryce, you've got a really good perspective on this. You know, we've talked about Orem Fest, fantastic. How many people do we have at Orem Fest this last year?
We had 100,000 in one weekend in the 3 days at City Center Park.
Yeah, 100,000. I don't know that we want 100,000 in 3 days here, that we're looking for that type of event, but you know, consistently every few weeks, we have 2,000-3,000 people could come in to an event and do some things. What was the car show? Do you remember?
7,500.
It was 12,000 that day. One of the things, I mean, Kenise and Sydney are here in the back right now, but one of the things we've talked about as an events team is rather than delivering 100,000 person weekend, could we deliver 200 5,000 person days over there between the Sierra Shell and the swimming pool and then a ice ribbon and then a farmer's market. You know, we have a number of events that are at that 3,000 to 5,000. They are lower impact for our public safety team, and it would drive the consistency of the traffic, which we think would be maybe the most healthy for a district like this. So, yeah, definitely the car shows, to Councilman McDonald's point, that's exactly what we would want more of. Several neighborhood level events, not the all hands on deck, every single person is in the park for an entire weekend.
We're also looking at our active transportation plan, looking at bikes and things like that. And one of the things we're really worried about is how do we get, you know, a family that wants to go, mom and dad on some bikes and some kids, you know, on bikes with training wheels and stuff like that, to be able to get from Sierra to the city park. You know, that's from here, it's only 4 blocks away safely. And we talked about that at our last work meeting also. You know, we've talked about a hawk here on Center Street. We've talked about a light being over here by our entrance to the city center block and Smith's, you know, but yet now through the neighborhoods, how do you get people safely from one park to the other to, you know, all year long be able to move around and enjoy activities? So it's just money. So I have a request for 30 million. And You would just give it, we'll come and spend it wisely.
I like the suggestion that the Miller Group does entertainment function of their business, right? So maybe we can get them to come on down to Orem.
Well, and that
They don't
is,
have Utah County present.
They don't bring them
Oh,
on
there
there.
you go.
and that's part of,
They've got their name on stuff at UVU. They have some Utah County stuff.
and Mayor, that's one of the reasons we wanted to go to the ballpark and talk to Larry H. Miller and then have the mayor come to talk about that public-private partnership and how we can work together with other groups and organizations. You know, one of the events at the Shell this summer was that Dancing Under the Stars we went to, and it's the Center for Dance and everything going on. And what a great performance they put on with all of their people and activities. So with this, we would be looking for ways to partner with, you know, everything from a Larry H. Miller Group to a UVU to come in and do some things to anybody and everybody.
Well, and to the question about things like the car show, I mean, maybe we're doing the car show here, but we've got 23 parks, so we've got a lot of different resources we could use for getting different events optimized at different places too.
And one of the things that we have talked about is not come to any conclusion, but just recognizing as this park develops and as we work on making connections between parks and areas, Summerfest, there may be more activities down here and less at the city during Summerfest, be able to. What'd I say? Oh, $1. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Nobody should say that. I have to put I just was told I have to put $5 in the swear jar.
I'll just say, I love that idea and want to emphasize that concept. I mean, this is the heart of downtown. And so it should be something of a bridge between both bookends of our downtown, which is this campus here and then close to University Place. And we already to some extent do events all along the three locations, but the more we can spread it out and connect these three areas, we'll have a better ability to provide events where people feel safe and welcome and that it's exciting. It's exciting community gathering, not concerning gathering.
Any other questions?
And thank you for the feedback and the conversation, and we'll take these ideas and get with the consultant and have them see if they can't refine their draft, their concept that you've seen and try to tailor it a little better for us.
Okay. And then in Mill Creek as well. Any ideas that you feel from there that are good to incorporate?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Gary. All right, item 2.3, presentation about 501c4 updates. Steve Earl.
Thank you, Mayor. So as you may remember, I think it was 2 meetings ago, we had a discussion about 501c4s and what they were, and what they do, what they can and can't do. And I think there was a desire for some additional information on those very questions. And so I was asked to do a little research and come back with you and give you some additional information on what 501c4s are. Some of you might already be somewhat familiar with 501c4s, and I apologize in advance. Sometimes I find myself tripping over the 501c4 and I end up saying 503c1s or different things like that. But you know what I'm talking about, 501c4s. So the 501c4 is just basically an entity organized under section 501c4 of the Internal Revenue Code. Most of you are probably familiar with 501c3 organizations, which are charitable organizations. And the C4s are just sort of the next subsection. It's a different kind of entity organized under the Internal Revenue Code. So 501c4s are nonprofit, tax exempt organizations. The entity itself is tax exempt, although contributions to 501c4s typically are not deductible as charitable contributions. They're described as social welfare organizations. You might ask, what does that mean? Well, the internal, or I think it's the Treasury Department actually has defined that as an organization operated for the promotion of social welfare, and it's primarily engaged in promoting in some way the common good and general welfare of the community. So that's still kind of general, still kind of vague, subjective, but basically if it could be interpreted to be something that promotes the general welfare, it's going to fall under that description. So you have a number of prominent examples of 501c4s in this country that include a variety of causes, if you will, or positions on social issues. A couple examples would be the National Rifle Association, the Sierra Club, obviously two entities with very different missions and aims, but they both fall under that organizational structure of 501c4. So 501c4s, and maybe this is the difference between one of the questions is what's the difference between a 501c4 and a 501c3? So a 501c3 is devoted basically exclusively to charitable activities, and that can be scientific, religious, educational, artistic, those kinds of activities. 501c3s, the charitable organizations, are not allowed to engage in any kind of political campaign involved running for office. So they can't give donations, they can't distribute literature, commercials, any of that. So this is where 501c4s are a little bit different. They are allowed to engage in political activity as long as political activity is not their primary purpose. And generally that means you determine what their primary purpose is by where they spend the majority of their money. 501c4s yeah.
You know how that works as far as if you're supposed to determine where they spend the majority of their money, but you can't see how they spend their money?
You can see how they spend their money. So they basically are required to report their expenditures on political issues to the IRS. I think it's called Form 990, if I'm not mistaken.
So you can see where they spend their money, you just can't see their donors.
That's correct. So you can see where they're spending. Now, the impression I have is I believe they're only required to report their expenditures when it's related to political activity and not when it's non-political activity. But that would be public information. You would be able to see where those expenditures are going.
Mayor said you couldn't see their donors. Is that accurate?
Cannot see their donors. So that's one of the differences with the 501c4 is they're not required to disclose their donors. So a person basically is allowed to donate an unlimited amount of money to a 501c4. And again, under federal law, they're not required to disclose who their donors are.
That's where the term dark money comes from, because you can't see where their funding is coming from.
I would suppose so, yeah.
And when are they filing their disclosures? When are those required to be filed?
I am guessing it's like part of the tax year when everybody else is required to file disclosures, but I'm not 100% on that.
So if they're engaged in a political campaign, which starts in June and ends in November, we're not going to know about any of their activities until the following April.
You know, again, I would have to look that up to give you a definitive answer on that. So I don't know exactly when the filing deadline is.
Okay. And then who defines, are there definitions of political activities?
Yes. I mean, I think it's political activity. I mean, there's the obvious activity. So when you're engaged in supporting a candidate, a ballot proposition, a political cause of some sort, that's obviously going to be considered political activity. So,
anything that has a political bias?
No, I wouldn't say anything that has a political bias because political bias is very broad.
Okay.
Right? So if I'm, for example, if I'm the NRA, I'm supporting gun rights. I can lobby Congress, on the issues that are important to me. That would fall under the definition of social welfare. I don't think that would be considered political activity. So political activity, I think, is largely defined in, again, supporting elections, candidates, ballot propositions, things like that.
So if it happens during an election season, could that be defined as supporting elections?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer for that for sure. I guess the IRS would have to make that determination, whether it was or not. So.
I mean, why else would you do it, right?
So let me go back to 501c4s, they cannot make direct campaign contributions to political candidates, but they are allowed to pay for independent expenditures that encourage the public to support or oppose political candidates. So basically that means an independent expenditure is any communication or activity that is not coordinated or made with the cooperation, consultation, or at the request of a candidate or political party. It has to be independent. So they cannot coordinate with candidates, say, hey, I'm going to go, organize this campaign on your behalf. I'm going to go, hey, what do you want on the billboard that I'm going to pay for to, support your candidacy? They can't do that. They can't coordinate those activities. It has to be completely independent.
What would constitute coordination?
Again, an example would be going to the candidate and saying, hey, I'm gonna do mailers on your behalf, or I'm gonna do radio spots, or I'm gonna do billboards. What message do you want me to put on there for you? What's the word you want out on that? That would be coordination. Or going to them and saying, hey, do you want me to go ahead and, where do you want me to put this sign? Or what's
your position?
What radio station do you want me to put this on? Those would be coordination and cooperation.
I think the confusion in Orem is some groups have both that arm and a PAC arm. And they're careful as to what goes into which arm.
Well, they're both PACs.
No. Is a 501c4 PAC?
I think that they are separate entities.
They're two separate entities.
Yes.
They have a PAC, which donates to civic, to campaigns, and a 501c4, which does not. I think that's the big difference.
Yes, a 501c4 cannot donate directly to.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that. You can't donate to campaigns. That's not what we're talking about here, right? We're talking about political influence and how to.
And they use a different fund to do that.
Using political influence under the guise of a 501c4, a charitable organization, where they're not disclosing where their donors are coming.
So a 501c4 is not a charitable organization.
Correct.
Social welfare. It's close.
Social welfare.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's right.
But I mean, that's where the hullabaloo is, right?
I think the hubbub is assuming they do give anything to political campaigns, and they don't. In the stronger Orem, they do, which is a Utah PAC, and they say where money comes from, and they say where it's going out to.
So in that example, who paid for the survey that came out that was a push poll that had some pretty defamatory things on
I
it?
assume stronger Orem. I don't know that. But they keep.
They have to do a paid for.
There was no paid for, so nobody really knows at this point.
I don't know that.
501c4s have to do a paid for.
I thought someone told me they had the survey. I didn't get the survey.
Sorry.
There's state law on doing the paid for. I think that applies. I'd have to go back and look at that language, but I think that applies to anybody who does an advertisement. So, but I'd have to.
Emails being sent out, polls should have a paid for on them.
I would think so, yes. Without double checking that, that's what I think. Okay, so going back to one of the questions that you asked Lene. So 501c4s, although political activity can't be their primary activity, they are allowed to engage in unlimited lobbying or issue advocacy. So again, like the NRA, they can do unlimited lobbying, issue advocacy, for an issue that's important. So, so back to we talked about the donors to a 501c4 do not have to be disclosed. I think there was a question at the last meeting, we talked about this, about whether the city could potentially require disclosure, 501c4s to disclose their donors. And the answer to that is maybe. It's unclear. There are 2 states that have adopted regulations requiring additional disclosure of donors, that being New York and Connecticut. So there's some precedent for that. However, I think there's also some question whether those laws would pass legal muster. And to my knowledge, there's not been a challenge in the courts that we can look to for, precedent. But, the federal government has kind of established what the rules are for 501c4s. And generally, states or local governments can be somewhat limited if the federal government has already regulated. But in some cases they can, in some cases they can't, is the bottom line. So I guess what I'm saying is it's possible that a local government entity could regulate that, but not certain that that would pass a legal challenge. So I think that we have, as we've looked into this, we felt that if there was an interest in requiring 501c4s to disclose their donors, probably that would have a better chance of success if it were done at the state level rather than at the local level. Just, they would have better resources to enforce, to measure, investigate, all those kinds of things. So and plus, again, there's already the precedent of some other states doing that. I have not seen anything about other local governments having done this before.
And they haven't been challenged yet in other
Not
states.
to my knowledge, I haven't seen anything where I've noticed that there was a legal challenge to that. So,
And may I just clarify, so what these other states have done is required more transparency
yes.
from that donor perspective.
Yeah, so they've required greater transparency of donors beyond what federal government,
Higher
which
state.
is nothing, basically. They didn't require any transparency, basically, as the donors.
501c4s have had an impact on cities? Are they usually bigger like the NRA, bigger national organizations?
I haven't looked into that, Mayor, so I don't know the answer to that. I think that I mentioned a couple examples just because those are well-known national organizations, but I don't know to what extent they're, local. I'm sure there are many, many 501c4s that are probably active on the local.
Yeah.
You don't hear about those.
You don't hear about problems.
Yeah.
Kind of why we went down this path was, when I first got elected, we had some issues on the voting side as far as different city council members were voting one way and telling the constituents they were voting a different way. And so there's confusion with people. And so we just wanted to make sure that everyone always knew how their city council members voted. That's what took us down the transparency portal path. It was to be completely transparent. And that's what our residents expect, is they want to know what we represent, what we vote for. They want to make sure that we're representing them the best way possible. And so we've got that transparency portal that's been set up and it's actually been adopted by other cities as a model of, a really good way to get transparency to the city council. And so the goal, how we get there would be to make sure that we have transparency on where the money is coming from that's funding our local elections. This hasn't been a problem up to now because without a 501c4, you can see where the money's coming from, who's contributing and how it's being worked. But with this new 501c4 element, it just creates an invisible area of donors. And one of the number one things in politics is follow the money. And with this, you can't follow the money. You don't know where it's coming from. So you don't know who's trying to influence our elections.
Mayor, the comment I got from this group is Stronger Together Community is a 501c4. Its purpose is support and strengthen our public schools and foster greater public participation in local government. Stronger Orem, a registered Utah PAC, is proposed to support exceptional candidates running for public office who make positive, lasting contributions to our school and community. The roles of these two organizations are distinct. They have separate funding, separate bank accounts, and separate reporting. This is normal. Stronger Orem PAC supports candidates. I've been a contributor to that. All contributions received and expenditures made are fully disclosed as required by Utah law. Stronger Together Community 501c4 is not engaged in campaigning and has not made any contributions to any candidates.
So that, and that's what they're telling us, and that's great. We can believe them, take them at their word. But simple things like the survey.
I think the survey was paid for by Stronger Orem.
Well, no one said who paid for it, which
Yeah, I
is
don't know
a
why.
violation.
I don't know. I didn't see the survey. I heard about it.
But it was a push poll where you're
Yeah.
push certain answers on people and shape opinion, right?
I also
From what I
saw,
heard, that was,
I
yeah.
also saw online the
Yeah, I heard my name was on it. I said, "I'm not running. I wasn't running 2 years ago. I heard my name. Yeah, I heard my name was on this push poll, so.
I also saw a comment from that group regarding why they have a 501c4. And the comment was something to the effect of, we could do that, but we don't plan on doing that. And to me, I'm like, okay, right there just says, we've got to look into this because you don't take.
I haven't heard they plan to do.
Talking, please.
Yeah.
You don't take someone's word for, we could do that, but we're just not going to. The reason we have laws is just to keep the dogs from barking and disturbing neighbors and to keep everybody happy and to just make sure everybody has the guardrails up. So if there are some potential, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just saying if there's a potential for confusion, then we should probably look into this. This is such a new thing for us here that I have gotten lots of emails. You got that email from them. I've gotten lots of emails from the other side. And they've listed things that they have observed happening, that questions that they have, violations that they're appearing to see. So from a city standpoint, I think what Steve has said, this is a federal designation. But my opinion is anything we can do to create greater transparency and better guardrails so we don't have problems after the fact, we should do that. This is not against anyone, but frankly, someone today sent me just our last election, right? There were some adjustments made, and this particular group funded 3 candidates throughout the election through in-kind donations to the tune of $27,000 that were not claimed and given to the public until December after the election.
2 years ago or?
Yeah, in 2023. So expenditures were made in May, June, August, October, November.
Their reporting is different than the candidates?
They just sent a report.
And the candidates are supposed to pick up in-kind contributions.
Right.
But the lieutenant,
In-kind contributions. They're talking to you three.
Thing that I was aware of.
I finished, sure.
Go ahead.
But the in-kind contributions were then reported at the behest and direction of the Lieutenant Governor's office. But the Lieutenant Governor's office had made this group aware of these, there had been complaints filed during the election of 2023 of what this group was doing that were not taken care of until after the election was over. And it was at that time that the Lieutenant Governor stepped in and said, okay, let's see if we can make this right by filing this in-kind donation. Frankly, that's not what campaign finance disclosures are for. They are for a transparency tool to help voters determine who's supporting my candidate, what does my candidate stand for, who do they maybe have ties to, whatever. People have different interpretations for all of that, right? I mean, I've been accused of a $50 donation buying my vote, so, or influencing me. So everybody has, different reasons to have that information. I think the point that a lot of people want to have come from this discussion is there something we can do to create greater transparency in Orem and in our elections?
Right.
Because there has been a track record of, in Orem itself over the last 2 years, that has not happened. There have been problems.
Right. And to your point, when it goes to the Lieutenant Governor's office and then it's forced to be put on the records after the fact, that doesn't help anybody. I mean, that it's completely pointless other than say something happened, but what does it mean? And so we kind of have a situation right now where we're in an election, we're dealing with these same sorts of things, and we don't have any process to deal with it other than to say, well, maybe after the election, we'll figure out what happened. Or there's a 501c4 and we don't know who's funding, different candidates. So anyway, Steve.
Just I'm finding a little bit of an answer to your question about when those forms have to be filed for a 501c4 when they make political expenditures. So I have to amend what I said before. So not only do they have to file a form with the IRS, but it looks like they also have, if their expenditures exceed a certain threshold amount, which in some cases I think is $250 and others is $1,000, they may be required to file a form with the Federal Election Commission as well. And that has to be, it looks like the deadline is generally at the end of the quarter in which the expenditures are made, or they might even be required to file what is called a 24-hour or 48-hour report for what they call large late expenditures. And so anyway, so they're obviously haven't had time to dig into this in depth, but it does look like there are some greater reporting requirements for large expenditures that are made in the middle of.
So if we wanted to find those reports, if people are listening to this and they're like, okay, well, let's just see, let me educate myself and see who's given what money or what are they spending money on? Where would they look? Where would that report be filed?
Yeah, so again, they are required to file this form 990 with the IRS, but in addition, depending on the amount, I think in the timing, they may also be required to file additional forms with the Federal Election Commission. It's called Form 5 with the Federal Election Commission. So I'm assuming that also would be a public document that people could find by going to the Federal Election Commission website, I would assume. So, but again, having not dug deep into that, that's what I have.
So there should be something, ideally, if this entity has been in place for over a year, there should be some filings there.
Well, I think it's the expenditures that trigger the filing requirements. So they could have been in existence for a long time, but if they didn't make those political expenditures, they're not required to file anything.
Only during that quarter.
It's only when they make those expenditures that triggers the obligation to file.
And you said that'll show up on the 990.
Well, the 990 is with the IRS, but then there's an additional reporting requirement with the Federal Election Commission.
That's
what I was saying.
That's what we're trying to figure out how you would get.
Is that for the PAC or the 501c4?
That's for the 501c4.
If they didn't make contributions, it'd be reported on there.
And no, this is reporting expenditures, not contributions.
Gotcha. Expenditures.
We don't know the contribution.
So depending on how that works, the 990 is supposed, well, Tom knows this, your accountant. The 990 is supposed to be filed at the end of the tax year, right?
Yeah, I assume.
Yeah, but they can get extensions.
Yeah.
And in some cases, they don't ever file a 990 or they file it super late. So with all that in mind, we just need to nail down if this information is really available. And if it's not, then we need to try and figure out some kind of a mechanism where we can get some clarity on what's going on with the money. Because if it keeps getting pushed out, it's after an election, it's worthless.
And again, I think we have to distinguish between expenditures versus contributions, right? So these reporting requirements are just expenditures. They're not donors or contributions.
When does a PAC have to report? Because you reported the 501(c)(3), whatever those letters are, and they said they've never given any money to a candidate or to a PAC. And the PAC is contributing to campaigns and or surveys and or whatever. When do they have to report who they've paid?
I unfortunately
didn't research
didn't look that up,
Yeah.
but obviously if they're donating money to a candidate, the candidate's going to have to disclose that
Right.
on their
In kind or otherwise, they're
Yes.
supposed to report it.
Correct.
And then because another question I've received is confusion of names. Can they be, so this person is saying, I can't find it on utah.disclosures.utah.gov or whatever it is. Because they have a DBA of Stronger Together, but it's Stronger Orem. You can't find Stronger Together because it's under Stronger Orem. So, Stronger Together is not listed on the site alphabetically, can only be found if you know they used to be Stronger Orem, or search for Stronger Together, which reveals Stronger Orem, AKA Stronger Together. So They've got two different entities. Stronger Together, Stronger Orem,
They've got
Stronger
three.
Community. And you listed two of those, Tom.
Yeah, this one talks
How
about,
can you have the same name? How can you do a DBA with one of the names of the entities, repeating a name of one of the other entities? I mean, do you know?
I don't have any information about that, so I can't answer that question.
A confusing thing. I mean, you've got laymen you don't have accountants trying to figure, if I want to go do some research as a voter, I would never find this stuff, right? I'd give up before I could find.
And what we've had up until this point is people make donations, candidates spend money. It shows on their financial report. Just go look at the financial report. Everyone knows what's going on. Then it's a case where we've got a pick, a pack, and a 501c4. It just gets extremely confusing. So if the goal is for citizens to understand what's going on, anything we can do to help them be able to do that would be extremely helpful. So.
Yeah, I mean, totally. This could all be capiche. We could have, everything could be exactly what Tom is saying, where they didn't donate here, or they did do this, or they did, but we don't know. It's too confusing right now. And the one statement that I said, where we're never going to do that, I just am not going to, I don't feel in my position that I should accept that type of an explanation. I feel I have a duty to create guardrails and create an environment where we don't have that opportunity for discussion and dissension and, all division, all of that. Let's just figure out how to make it transparent and clear. So there's no accusations and there's no shady behavior. So I don't know. I'm in favor of a municipal ordinance to try to create more transparency. If this entity doesn't want to be transparent and they choose to sue us, then we deal with that when that happens. But why would they do that? Why would they not want to disclose, be more transparent about their entity?
I'm looking online at everyone who contributed between May and August, their last report.
You're talking about
Stronger Orem.
everyone who.
The Stronger Community is the C4.
Yeah.
That's where.
And that's the one they said they're not making any contributions to political
They
people.
are saying that, right? Do we have a filing?
I don't know that.
That's my point.
I'm just looking at Stronger Orem and everyone who made a contribution to it.
But Stronger Orem isn't the issue. It's Stronger Community is the C4.
Yeah. That's the one you're assuming has done things that
I'm not
are.
assuming anything. I'm just saying we need to have guardrails up to make sure there's transparency there. And why not put in place an ordinance that provides transparency, provides opportunity, so we can stop these public discussions that are going on. They don't like being accused of it. Other people don't like thinking they're doing things. Let's just do something that creates an entity, an opportunity for transparency. That would be good governance.
Yeah, but if they're not making contributions to city to contribute to campaigns, we can't ask them to do that, can we?
But do we know? I mean, as far as that information, who knows when that will be disclosed?
I think Steve, you ought to reach out to them and see if they'll give you a report.
No, wait. No, they're a 501c4. These laws in New York and Connecticut are regulating C4s. So of course we can put an ordinance in place to regulate C4s. We don't have to see what they're doing.
But you just need to see what they're doing.
To decide whether we're going to pass an ordinance or not.
Okay.
Why not be more transparent?
Yeah, transparency is what it's all about, right?
Mm-hmm. What's the holdup? Why would you not want to do that?
Well, I think there's two issues here. One is transparency, and I think we can ask them for that. The other is the role of the federal government, the state government, and the local government. I think we don't want to get into that mess right now.
I don't have a problem getting into it. No one's been.
I invite you to do so.
And then I would vote yes on doing it, on more transparency. So I guess your vote is no.
We don't have that on the agenda. We don't have it on. So I've sent you some information. I encourage you to research that as well.
So I guess 4 people are going to decide whether this goes on the agenda then?
4 people always decide what goes on the agenda.
I know.
That's my point.
So we got in the school district.
To learn more, and I'd love to hear more what Steve finds and what the best options are.
I mean, I just find we're fearful of stepping on federal state. I just find that a weak argument because truly what it's about is transparency. And is a group going to sue? If they're truly doing nothing, are they going to not want to be transparent? I mean, that's no different. My statement there is no different from, we don't plan to do that. Except for, let's just make it safe for
At the
everyone.
core of everything we're talking about, so PICs are transparent, PACs are transparent, if they report on time, and if they actually put their information out, and then 501c4s are not. So if we're going down to that, then don't wait for us to, I don't know, I guess look at these other ordinances that have been done. See if there's anything that can be done, to make that transparent in Orem. Maybe there's not, but we can explore it.
That's all I'm asking for.
And the other issue is time. I mean, we're in the thick of this election. I don't want to get to the end of this election and then in February, after all the dust is settled, have these announcements made by these entities that, oh, guess what? This is what your financial should have said after the fact. Anyway, we want to go, Steve.
I am not the one that makes that decision. So that is
Jeff said he's willing to look into it.
And I think it'd be a good idea to do that. I mean, the key thing is transparency. Where's the money coming if they have the money? Is there's no harm, no foul if they're not doing anything wrong. If they're concerned about who's giving them money, why wouldn't they let us know? As a city, I think we have that opportunity. But
I just think it calms our city more.
if we're trying to be transparent, like everything's in the open, so I'm open to both.
And I say the entity that is making campaign contributions is fully open and is reporting it.
Right, and this is an entity you've donated to, Tom, so let's just make that transparent too.
I have. I told it right up front.
Continue to echo their.
No, I'm just saying, you
for
can see
them on
online, everyone who's made a contribution to the political campaign.
Right, but I think we've talked about this, but you continue to echo their talking points, so. I think
As you echo a conspiracy theory,
Oh, please, no. No conspiracy theory here. I'm transparency, sir. Please don't accuse me of that. That would be out.
If you can get Connecticut, they're all the same one.
I'm sorry, what?
State, New York, and just see what their ordinance was or their law and see.
I'll pull that down to municipal level.
Municipal level.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do whatever the council wants me to do. So just need guidance and direction from the council.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in favor of looking into it and seeing, what our options are. And with the ultimate goal of, it's pretty simple. We just want to know what money's coming into these elections and what money's going out of these elections. So, and obviously the reason for that is that money has influence. And, since the beginning of time, that money has influenced people in different ways. And it's the citizenry has the right to know that. So anyway,
Chris hasn't commented. Did you like to comment, Chris?
I don't have any particular comment. I think what we've heard is self-explanatory. I think there's a reason what the federal law is, and then there's also the citizen request. And so if Steve's given a good report, I don't have any further to ask from him because I also researched on that side. So I don't have a strong opinion of to continue or not. I'm just waiting to see if we can find out more. That's a vote at that.
Jeff, did you want to look at
And that's where I'm at. I would like to know, if Steve's willing to dive in more and find out more information and then bring that to us and say, here's what I found.
Can you specify what you mean by more information? Are you talking about specifically this organization, this situation, or are you talking about the laws in New York?
The New York, the other situations in other places.
New York.
And if it makes sense for us to pursue.
to do something like that in Orem? That's the way I understand what you're saying. You're saying, these other laws.
Yeah, I would love Steve's legal opinion on what he think would be best. Let's look at these other situations. And then bring that to Orem if that, look at that and see if that would make sense, or if there are some other unforeseen circumstances or consequences that could come to pass because of that, one way or the other.
Yeah.
I just feel like right now we're have a lot of opinion.
Yeah.
And I would like more hard data.
Right.
Legal information from Steve.
I mean, we got a consensus on that, right?
I guess, okay, can I just clarify? So what I would like to see is what would that look like on a municipal level? What's going on in New York and Connecticut? What would that, how on a municipal, because, that's New York, that's Connecticut. What does this mean for me? Maybe, me as a legislator in Orem.
See, I think the issue here though is we're looking to redefine the whole 501c4 organization at our own municipal level. And I'm not sure that's what we want to do here. Do we really want to redefine 501c4s?
We're not, 501c4s are defined by the IRS.
They are defined by the IRS.
It's
The reporting requirements are also defined by that. So by redefining the reporting requirements, we're redefining the 501c4 organizations.
No, we're not. 501c4s are defined by the IRS. What these two states have done is these two states have added some additional requirements so they can see what's going on behind the scenes in this 501c4. And if that's, losing my voice, but if that's possible for them to have more transparency, then we're just curious what that looks like and if that would be implementable on a city level.
I have no problem with more transparency. I'm just not sure that this is tree we want to bark up. And all the things that we're working on, is this the most important thing?
Well, there's a lot of things we're working on. We've got endless things.
And we do have endless things we're working on. So is that how we want Steve to use his
Well,
time?
we're in an election and there's a lot of people in the community that wonder what, this 501c4 that's now inserted us up into our politics.
Which
How
has
is it being
stated
funded?
expressly that they are not spending money on election politics. So
Well,
what you're saying
they-
basically is you
they-
don't trust them.
Well, what I'm saying is after the last election, there was, whatever the number was, 24,000, 27,000, there was this announcement of this much was spent well after the election from this group. So.
And that was, and can I be clear? I have the printout right here. That was $27,464.29 per candidate. $80,000 is not disclosed during the campaign of in-kind donations. So this is nothing about the candidates. This is about an entity that provided in-kind donations to candidates, and none of that was disclosed at that time.
Turn the page and read the details on
It was disclosed after the fact, after the election was over.
And that's what I'm talking about. This is the 23,700 total of $23,756.29.
amongst three candidates.
24
Amongst three candidates.
And did you report it on your personal?
Yes.
And then it was.
December. Ours
No,
was
they reported when they did
We
that.
reported the pancake breakfast.
I reported anything that was mine for me when it was required to be reported.
So so what's the?
I really don't want to go after you guys. This is not my point here. I just pulled
But it's
this
not
out
eight,
to
so,
say,
so it's important to note to the public that it wasn't 80,000. It was a total of 23 amongst three candidates.
right. And thank you, because you know what? I've been confused this whole time. And
Yeah,
why?
but-
Because
but if
this
you read
wasn't
the-
made until December
If
after
you
the
read the
election.
back page, it describes in detail what that was. So that's what that amendment.
Right, but this did not come out until December after the election.
And those
That's the point
funds,
I made.
and also the other point is.
I'm not making how much money. I don't even care about that. I don't even want to go there with you. I really not.
Is that required to come out?
Um,
A lot of the things that we
yes.
report are after the
There
election.
were there's May, June, August, October, November, June again, October, lots of expenditures.
And this was all from the same group that just set up the 501c4.
Yeah, but
right?
nothing was reported, nothing until December. This is the same entity that's telling us.
Should that have been reported? I don't know.
Trust them because they're telling us they're
I don't
fine.
know what their requirements are. I don't know anything about that. So that was my question is,
Right, but, and my point is not to point at candidates or any of you. Okay, my point is to say that this entity, that they're fine and you know, they told us they're not going to do it like this. I'm really not trying to accuse them of anything, but I'm saying
It sounds
this
like.
is a significant thing that happened because of some reporting issues. Because of transparency issues,
So,
which is the bottom line.
right. No, I mean, it just gets very confusing when you've got different entity. Well, it's one entity. It has multiple names, multiple structures. And it's, and then you have something like this happen and it just, that doesn't look good. And like Lene says, it's not on you, the candidates, it's on them with their reporting. And the lieutenant governor basically forcing them to report that after the fact, you know, so, but that's water in the bridge. What we're trying to figure out now is now they've set up a 501c4 and they're telling us everything will be great after we've just experienced this. So in the community, there's a lot of questions, and it's not a conspiracy. There's just questions of where is this money coming from? And so back to the basics of where we were is, Steve, if you can research new state laws and see if there's anything that we can incorporate in Orem to help us with our transparency, then that would be great. And ideally, if we could do it by the next,
Sorry.
if we could do it by the next meeting, that'd be even better, just because the goal would be to get some clarity on this before we get to the end of the selection.
Yeah, so it sounds like basically you're looking for kind of a summary of what the other two states have done, New York, Connecticut, how they, in what way they required additional disclosure. That's kind of what you're.
Yeah, the real thing we're looking for is, it's high level that is whatever they've done to encourage more disclosure, is that something that we could do on a local level? That's the question.
And what does current Utah state law say about that?
Yeah, there's not any Utah state law on it right now. In terms of, you know, requiring 50C4 to disclose donors, there's no Utah law. So it's just purely governed by the federal law, which says they don't have to disclose donors. So, and again, you know, these two states, Connecticut and New York, have required additional reporting disclosure requirements. I could look at that and see, because I have a feeling that it's like they require disclosure under certain circumstances, and we'd have to go in and find out what those are exactly. And
It could be pretty simple, right?
I don't think their laws are going to be simple on it.
You're probably right.
But,
Yes, I mean, the solution could be simple, and that would calm our community. And frankly, I don't like to hear either side, you know, attacking each other. I would just like to find a way to bring some transparency so there's peace.
So we're good with that?
Yeah, more info.
Okay. You have your assignment. Thank you, Steve. Okay, let's move on. We're at item 2.4, Constitution Month activities.
Real quick. Yeah. So this is our third year doing celebrating Constitution Month, and so we've just got a kind of a lineup of things that we're going to do and promote to help residents celebrate the Constitution. So we've set the website orem.gov/constitution. We've got a bunch of service projects mainly happening the next 2 weeks, both in honor of the Day of Caring and 9/11 Day of Service. So we're tying that all into Constitution. There's also the Healing Fields display at the mall, which just went up yesterday, where they put out a fun flag for everyone that we lost on September 11th. We have a little display there as well that teaches about.
I was on the news last night. Very impressive.
And it's just down at University Place. And they also have some educational pieces too inside the mall. Then we have the UVU Center for Constitutional Studies. They have a 2-day conference that they talk about constitutional issues. And this year it's all about George Washington, his role in helping shape the Constitution, both as a general and as our first president. So that'll be really cool. We're helping get the word out on that. The library will have a week of constitutional themed books and resources for families to teach kids about the Constitution. So those will be available starting the 17th. Then we're doing our art contest again. So kids and adults could submit pieces of art that celebrate the Constitution, and you'll have a chance to look at those and judge those. And then if you'd like, we have one veteran who's willing to come in to our next city council meeting and talk about what it means to swear an oath to the Constitution and protect the Constitution, uphold it from the armed forces side. So if that's something you're interested in, we can arrange that for next meeting. And then on top of that, we have a law professor at BYU who's committed to do a video with us about how the US Constitution affects us here at the city level, at the local level, and then kind of how the Constitution plays into our day-to-day activities. So pretty fun, full month, just thinking about the Constitution and how great it is and what it's done for us as a nation. That's the report.
Okay. Any questions, feedback?
Bravo for efficiency. Very good, Peter.
He always does a great job. This Constitution month, it's something we started 3 years ago and it's gained momentum every year. So good job. Keep it going. And it looks like it's getting bigger this year.
It'll be great. Thank you.
So thank you. Okay, next up, we've got item 2.5, Taste of Orem, Denise, our events planner. And Sydney.
Thank you.
It just plugs into. Use it to click. Hit the red. Hit that circle.
Yeah, it's search information.
While we're floating, I'll just say, I mentioned how much we're looking forward to the new myOrem software. Well, the amount of anticipation and how much we're looking forward to that pales in comparison how much we're looking forward to the Taste of Orem. This is an event that we tried to get going, starting here, didn't all come together, but that has just increased the amount of anticipation, emotion, and momentum for.
We're so excited to report on it because the closer and closer it gets, the more excited we get. A little scared too, but that's okay. It's going to be really amazing and we're happy to report on it. Okay, we are finally up and going. Yes, well, we're happy to report on Taste of Orem and how it's going so far as getting it up and off the ground in this very first year. So it will take place on September 19th and 20th. So on the 19th, we'll be having a kickoff concert. The Utah Live Concert Foundation is partnering with us on this event. And if you've ever been to their Come Together Festival, you know that it is power-packed with really fun entertainers. And it will be sure to please everyone here with a variety of music and sound. On Friday, we'll have that kickoff concert from 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m. So mark that on your calendars, plan on attending.
And then on Saturday, September 20th, 12 to 8 is the food festival, but we also have live music starting at 9 a.m. till 10 p.m. And so they'll be fun all day long. And we have a couple things we wanted to chat about.
So this Taste of Orem was designed to be a little sampling of the food and music and culture that of our people here and our community here in Orem. And so we have a few cultural booths that will be setting up at the event on Saturday that help to support cultures in our community. Some of these booths will be, I am so sorry if I butcher the names, but Ali Itasi Productions, El Chasque Foundation, Haitian Community in Utah, and we're working on that, finalizing that final one. We'll also have some art vendors of local artists that have handcraft art, and we have a variety of artists that are coming from jewelers to painters to pottery folks, and so clothing that's been designed from local artists. So really fun art boutiques that'll be available. Do you want to talk about the kids' crafts?
Yeah, we have some kids' crafts and workshops. So alongside, we wanted to have something fun for some of the kids. We have Adopt a Llama. So trying to figure out 100% what that one is. African drum workshop, the palm leaf headbands, and then that kind of ties into cultural performances. So in the afternoon on September 20th, in between some of those bands, we have Hope of Haiti coming, the Africa Cultural Center, Aliutasi Productions, Latin Dance Heritage, and Viva Chile. And they are doing like drum performances, dancing. I think there is hula. And yeah, it's been really awesome. Our commission's been really involved in helping us get this side prepared.
Yes, and we feel like just having this fun variety of entertainment and different interests that will attract people from all ages and all backgrounds. So we're hoping to have a lot of attendees here.
So can I just ask something?
Yes.
What's the alley?
It's a Polynesian Dance Corporation. Yeah.
So, and just for next year, love that. But maybe, is there an Asian group that we can find? Is there a European group that we can find?
Yeah, we have limited amount of time slots this year, so we're hoping that next year we'll be able to have more slots available, because we did try to approach several different backgrounds. But these are the amount that we have.
Oh, and that's fabulous. I was just
Yeah.
like, no, we've got those cute continents we haven't.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'd love to dabble in all of the areas. And so hopefully we can work in more of this kind of performances in our future events. Yeah. So, okay, so we just wanted to kind of explain a little bit how it works at the food festival. So we have these beautiful tickets. Oh, they're patched on.
Something kind of, oh yeah, half sheet and a full sheet. I like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and we anticipate a half a sheet, which is 20 tickets. We get a person about 6 to 7 different mini entrees, and that will fill you. We've had a really fun job lately because we've been taking pictures of the different entrees and we get a partake of them. And we have a hard time deciding which is our favorite. And we've also been very full the past couple of weeks. So 20 tickets will get you, like, fill a person for sure, unless you want to sit all day, digest a little bit in between, and be able to try all 20. We're, up for the challenge. Definitely do that. We'll have plenty of entertainment in between, okay? So people will buy these tickets, and then they're perforated tickets, and then they'll just exchange them at the different food booths for the entrees. And we're gonna show you a sneak peek of the different menu items that are available to give you a better idea. We do have pre-sale tickets available right now on orem.gov/taste. And that will be open until the night that pre-sale. We'll have tickets pre-sold at the kickoff concert as well on September 19th. So let's go ahead and.
Denise, do they pick them up here? Do you mail them?
Okay, so if you ordered online, great question. If you ordered online, there will be a will call for pickup at the event. But if you buy them at the kickoff concert, then you'll just get your tickets right then.
You can also pick them up that day at the.
Yeah, at the will call.
Also say that again, the site for them to pick them up if someone's watching and wanting to.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Orem.gov/taste. If you Google Taste of Orem, it is your top choice. No other Taste of Orem out there, guys.
And on that website, there is the ticket purchases, how it works, FAQs. These pictures and like what will all be there are gonna be up on the site tonight or tomorrow. Just try to get a couple last pictures, but we'll get what's up there. This is a little bit of a sneak peek. We have 6 restaurants that we put on the slide. So here are a couple of things. That is the number of tickets. They're all great and delicious. And we've been posting about our restaurants, and we'll go into a little bit about that.
Denise, do you have a recommendation? Say, what if you have a family with 3 kids, 4 kids? How many tickets would?
About how many? With those mini bites. I think that you probably could get away with just a full sheet for 2 people if the kids are just having little bites. But
20 tickets for a very full adult, we would say.
yeah.
So
If you're
give or
splitting
take.
that in between like little kids.
Sit down.
And these again will be all up there with the number of tickets. So if you really want to do all the math and see what you want to taste, you can add it all up. Make sure you get the right amount of tickets, see what your kids were like. We have a really good variety of things that are really unique. And then also we have there's mac and cheese and there's burgers and there's chicken sandwich, just different things. And then there's everything.
And
Yes.
maybe just a note to that, the half sheet and full sheets are available for pre-sale. You can buy a single ticket at the
Yes.
event. And so if you underestimate by 4, you're not, you're not committed to another 30 tickets.
Yes.
You can just buy one.
Yeah, sir. We have that. Yeah, so right now, like Bryce said, we're doing the full sheet and the half sheet up there. That's a screenshot from the website, and then the day of ticket sales on the bottom there. So, yeah.
One other just mention, if you are so stuffed and you're like, I don't know what to do with the rest of these tickets, we will be collecting extra tickets as donations for the Gold Star Monument. So that's how people can, I'm full, I'm tapping out. They can just drop them in the bucket and we'll use those towards the monument.
Perfect. Right.
Right. We have a little behind the scenes, but do you guys have any questions so far?
My wife says that even though our house is full of cats, she's wondering how many llamas she can adopt.
Oh, yeah. We'll get back to you.
We'll get back to you.
Okay, yeah, let me know.
You're trying to get your man card?
All right, so a couple of wins so far. We do have 20 restaurants that are ready to go. We've personally met and visited all of them, and they're very excited, and they definitely feel the support of the city. We talked to a lot of them. They're very excited. We focused on brick and mortar, or, permanently established businesses / restaurants in Orem. A lot of them are feeling the love. They've been in other cities. They feel that Orem has really supported them. It's a great tie with Orem Business Alliance, getting them to feel appreciated for being in Orem. We have sold $6,000, a little bit more than that in pre-sale already. And we know this last couple of weeks will be the biggest push, so we're excited for that. We've got a really good positive social media response. We've been a lot of videos, a lot of ads, a lot of people are sharing. All the feedback is really good. People are really excited to see what's there, how many tickets they can buy. They're sharing with their friends. And then all of our staff is ready to go. We've got a lot of practice, Orem Fest, but we had a meeting this week. We had, police and fire and all of them involved, and parks, and everybody were ready for an exciting couple days.
And although we're making it sound like this is off to an amazing start, it's going to be perfect. It hasn't been without its challenges. It is a very first year event. And so everything has been having to being developed by scratch, essentially. We've had some great inspiration from Taste of Edmonton, Sydney's hometown. But legal, thank you. We've had tons of agreements and contracts that have been new that have had to go through approval processes. Lots of questions from the restaurants, and we are like, that's a good question. We don't know. Let's get back to you. Concerns from restaurants of participating and giving up a Saturday and having enough staff to staff not only their brick and mortar, but this event as well. And just having that buy-in. So we are so grateful to have 20 restaurants that have said yes.
Taking a chance on us.
Yes, so grateful for that. There have, definitely, if it was a dream world out there, we would have way more time. We are feeling the crunch right now with getting everything ready to be able to put on the website, to be able to print, to have banners in place and all the wayfinders and everything. So we're definitely feeling crunch, although even with all the time with Orem Fest, we still feel this way. So, and then also we're so grateful to have the entertainment taken care of by the Utah Live Concert Foundations. But as with any new partnership, there's different hiccups and priorities and vision of the event, and so just trying to help navigate that has been interesting and challenging as well. We feel like it's going to be a really great event, and but it hasn't been without its challenges. So, do you have any questions about a little more of the behind the scenes? And
we probably should have done the other way. Challenges, then the wins, but that's okay. Try to remember the wins.
True.
Go.
20 restaurants.
I was listening to something, but it's okay. Did you have a question?
I don't have a question. I just have a comment. I am so excited about this. This has been a dream for years. And the opportunity of bringing different cultures together, and we do that in a lot of different ways, but I think the opportunity of bringing different cultures together to experience different foods, dance, music, some rock and roll going on the stage. I think it's awesome. Thank you for doing this and making it happen. I think this will become another Orem hit. And the hope is, with everything that we do is to bring people together, but I hope in bringing all of these cultures together that it feels like one big happy Orem family.
Yeah.
That we're all part of the same community and family, and we can be good neighbors and friends and get along and love each other. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
That's our hope.
And we would love, obviously, to see all of you guys there. We would love your feedback, what you guys hear from residents, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. Obviously, it's the first year. There's a lot of things that we have already been, we'll do this better. Like next year, we'll fix this. So anything you guys hear when we have like the post review or whatever.
So I think
to let us know.
a video where you have someone like me who is just likes meat and potatoes. That's that's what I do. I'm afraid to try new things when I don't like it, and just have them because I will love this because I'm going to go try and I'm going to be like, oh, I tried this ceviche and it did cost me $50, or I could just see if I liked it or not. I love it that you.
Yeah, and that's the point. Is I think a lot of these restaurants people would go to, but it's scary to bring your family and bring spend $100 and you don't know if they're going to like it. But here you can get a little taste, and then we have encouraged a lot of the restaurants to give some incentives to come back to their restaurants. We'll be doing a couple of giveaways. We've been doing videos, and then hopefully, next year we'll ramp it up.
It'd be really
Are
fun.
we doing the senior center parking lot, maybe it's for disabled parking or?
I'm glad that you asked that. So we actually have all of the senior center. We're not reserving any of that for any reason at all. So all of that is totally open. So it will have all those senior parkings that is available, all the disability parking, same with this north lot. The only lot that we have some reservations that we're reserving is the south parking lot, and that will have food vendors and also for the council, and we have some sponsors as well. So that will be the only reserved lot.
Yeah, so there should be enough of the ADA parking, and then because we're taking up two of the spots in the south one, those ones will go up temporary in the north parking lot.
Or
Maybe increase it,
temporary
yeah.
signs that it's more disabled
Yeah.
parking instead of not.
Yeah.
Because we had a lot of complaints at Orem Fest because.
Yes, I learned. And hopefully, this, by then. Never mind, I don't want to.
But this one will also be a lot of in and out of, because it's so long, it won't be as there's no grand, huge fireworks thing. So
Yeah.
we hopefully will have a little bit more flow, and that will also help with the parking and traffic.
That's really important.
Yeah.
You got bands on this.
Have you guys pushed it at all at Farmers Market?
Have we pushed it at all?
Yeah, so we're going out tomorrow night and flyers, and then we go out the Wednesday.
It seems like that's a natural crowd
That's
that,
the people who will be there,
Exactly.
most likely to be there. Yeah.
oh,
So yeah, we got that planned.
The videos are filmed at the farmer's market. Get that feel.
Yeah.
You're doing another one tomorrow.
Yeah.
Remind everybody when it starts on Friday, when it ends on Saturday.
Yes.
Exactly.
5 to 10 Friday. Music starting at 9, but 12 to 8 for food on Saturday. That'll be the biggest one.
And speaking of pushing, we have some flyers for you all to be able to push to your circles. And then we also have some tickets for our council.
I think you should make us buy them.
Well, we're only gonna give you one shake, so bring your families and that might not be enough.
But we're just gonna pass this around unless there are any other questions for us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take your money. Sure.
Okay.
I saw you my sheet.
Oh, sorry.
I saw you my sheet.
What's the discount?
No discount.
So,
Convenience.
buy them and get just a little,
All right.
Still not very.
Thank you guys for that presentation and getting everybody up to speed on that. We're excited.
So you too.
Brent brought up that you should all be like sufficiently hungry now after watching all this delicious food. So our food is here. Why don't we take a break and put the food and then we'll come back. We've got a final presentation. Then we need to go over the agenda. So we'll just take a short 5-minute break to get the food back and organized, and then we'll continue on. Do you have a volunteer for the prayer? On the blessing on the food?
Our beloved Father in heaven, we're so grateful for the opportunity we have to live in this great country and to be residents of this great city and to serve in the capacity that we serve. We are grateful for the opportunity to represent those around us and to learn and grow in all the areas of life that we see around us. We are grateful for the staff and their diligence in all that they do. At this time, Father, we'd like to offer a blessing upon the food that we're about to partake of. It may give us nourishment and strength, and we can use that strength in serving thee and those around us. These favors and blessings we pray for in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Go. I'm 30 minutes early. I'm on, but.
You go, Dave.
We have a presentation, Hullstrom from United Way. 2.4 or 2.6.
Good afternoon, everybody. First, that presentation on the food event. I'm starving now, so you know where you sent me. Let me share what I want to share with you, and I'm presuming I probably need to cut a few minutes because we count the time here. Every 3 years, and many of you have been on this council and I've come before, we do a study about community issues, about what the issues are, what the data show, what public perception shows. And I've got the same here this year. We have numerous partners that partner with us. And we're really kind of talking about, we really are focusing, which I think is appropriate for the city, what some of the stresses are hitting our families. And I'm going to go through some really quick data, but let me first show you here what's on people's minds. The dark blue is 2025. The light blue is 2022. So different issues become more important and less important over time. And I'll go into more some detail. Let me go some more detail on this. Let me go this one right here about issues that people are concerned about. Let me just. The issue of growth continues to dominate all discussion. Everybody's worried about the growth, and we talk more about where that growth is coming from. Some issues are becoming less concerning to people, yet our data shows that they are actually in worse shape. I'm going to show more specifics on that. Let me go back here. Let me show you one of my favorite slides, and we'll come back and give you more data. The data shows in Utah County that we're really young. 25.5 is the average age in Utah County. Look that we did not age. We're barely aging, which I think is very comforting for those of us that have been in their jobs for multiple decades. The data shows that we're not aging here. So you see this. We're not aging. We're staying young. And that's a critical piece that makes Utah County and Orem different than almost anywhere in America. We are the youngest county of any size. There's a tiny county somewhere that's a little younger than us, but of any size, we're the youngest county in America. Where this growth, what changed a lot in Utah County is where the growth came from. Until recently, all the growth, and I have no idea why this is pixelating so strangely, but what used to be that a lot of our growth was our own birth rates, our own natural growth. I used to refer to our local production. Our local manufacturing is our original growth. In recent years, that changed, and it became that our growth was coming from outside migration in. So until COVID hit, majority of our growth was our own kids having kids and us having kids. That changed through COVID, and now a higher percentage of our people are coming in from out of state or from another community. Yes, our research shows that much of that growth coming in from outside are people that have connections to Utah County already, whether they're coming back to be with mom and dad, whether they went to school here, but we're not finding majority population coming in saying, gee, where's Utah? Let me try moving to Utah. Connection, but our local birth rates are down. More people coming in from the outside.
So how do we stay young? How did that other slide show that? Lying about your age, Bill?
That's probably, yeah, that could be it.
Right.
With a lot of our outside growth are coming in. We for a while thought the outside growth, people thought it was just all the retirees coming in from California. It turns in that a lot of young families are also moving back. So the pandemic brought a lot of young families, telecommuters, people who had other jobs, tech people, et cetera, brought them in. Our people coming in continue to be highly educated, continue to be less poverty than other places, et cetera. And so, but our growth, you look at our growth circles here. This is projection 2030, 2040, 2050, up to 2060 here. And you see this growth where it's happening. The projections put you not as much growth, but Orem Provo still shows major growth ahead in all the projections. This growth, by the way, contrary to rumors, Salt Lake stays bigger than Utah County. But we're kept closer and closer to the current. Let me keep going here. Housing prices, median housing prices have gone up since 2015, 72%. That's, by the way, for maybe my finance guys can help me, that's a big number, right? Is that a big number, Brandon? Yeah, a big number.
You can buy my books.
The part that is really significant on the housing is that our gap in housing really started happening during that recession of 08, 09. We have not recovered in housing starts in Utah County, in Utah, and frankly in the country. We've not recovered the gap in housing since then. Our birth rate alone was not, the housing was not even keeping up with our birth rate, let alone outside people coming in. Prices for 2-bedroom rentals up 68%. 3-bedroom rentals up 57%. Studio apartments up 39%. 3-bedroom, 51% increase. So almost a 51% increase for housing costs. No wonder a lot of our families are struggling. We'll come back and talk about the effect of that the struggle is. By the way, the number one need we get from our 2-in-1 is housing costs. Other areas that we're worried about, and Brand, you and I have talked about this numerous times, feeling sad and hopeless, that number continues to climb. Almost a third of our kids are struggling in that aspect. And the problem, believe me when I share this data, no one ever says, oh, that can't be. Most of us are saying, yeah, I know that. I see that everywhere.
What age is you here?
This here is junior high school. But here's my worry. Public's perception is concern about these issues is plummeting. The issue is getting worse. And people on a scale of 1 to 5, how bad is the problem? Before COVID, we had 44 or 4.4, and now down to 2.76. So basically almost halved people's concern about this issue. The data shows the issue got worse, and we care less. I refer to this as issue fatigue. Our communities are experiencing issue fatigue, somewhat just giving up on certain things. Let me keep going here. We've been measuring 3rd grade reading scores for a long time. Do you know the data on 3rd grade reading scores? If you're not reading at grade level 3rd grade, your chance of not graduating increases 4-fold. If you're low income, it increases 6 to 13 times. In fact, there's some states that allegedly use the reading rates to project incarceration rates. There's a correlation there. The worry here that we have is that number of children not reading into kindergarten, so basically kindergarten readiness, we've gotten worse. It got worse in the last year. So we're less ready for kindergarten, and people's concern about education got cut in half again. We're getting distracted, but the issue fatigue is hardly an issue that matters more in our community than our kids' education. If you're not reading at grade level early, it affects so many aspects of your life, not only mental health, it affects your desire for employment, it affects your great correlation between not reading and incarceration, the whole bit. We also just have some statewide data that shows that increasing number of kids are not being read to daily. And we certainly know, and there's lots of studies, that parents are not coping well. The data shows, and the surveying is showing that parents under stress is real. Couple just data points on that parents under stress. Who can barely afford the rent, you can be more stressed out household. If you can barely afford the rent, you may have to take extra job, which even puts more pressure on that. Then you add another little parallel. I'm going to be careful I say this. But this whole increase of juvenile anxiety and depression, so a lot of those are now adults, parents. And anxious parent creates anxious child. So parental support becomes one of the key things that we have to deal with in community. Here's one that I brought up particularly for your group. The question about your neighborhood. There's some conflicting data here. The one I think is most intriguing to me here is it is difficult to find friends in this neighborhood, 55%. I'd like to get to my neighborhood still says 63% people want to move out of their neighborhood in Utah County. Which it seems the opposite. They like the neighborhood, they still want to move out of the neighborhood. But this number here is what I want you to focus on. But let me go to one more data point that I think is probably even more important here. 6 out of 10 people in Utah County miss having more people around them. I don't know if I've shared with you have I shared you the data about loneliness epidemic? Loneliness is worse for your health than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. This is the Surgeon General's report. Loneliness is worse for your health than obesity. Loneliness is worse than inactivity. I might add, the Surgeon General's report that I'm referencing was done by researchers from Brigham Young University. So it's our friends right here who did this research. But loneliness is becoming a problem. We still have, I don't even remember it. We still have about 22% of our population feels they have nobody around they can rely on. And I'm guessing that, frankly, in both of your worlds, you're into people who are in that category, who are calling EMS services when most of us would have called a neighbor. Family. Or family, right. So let me keep going. Then I can come back and talk a little bit more about it. Summary is income is outpacing, costs are outpacing income. Our mental and emotional well-being is not being taken care of. Our social connections are weakening. We'll have educational gaps. Let me give you a couple of just very more philosophical thoughts here about this. So as I talk to a lot of you folks here in the city, I love it when we talk about community connections and the need to be connected. Let me share a couple quick stories here that happened in this community here. I'm a pretty sophisticated guy. I was going to a fancy restaurant called Burger King a few weeks ago, a few months ago, now about a year and a half ago. And I followed the story, but I followed the story. I drove into the drive-thru, and the microphone, the lady said, "We're so short-staffed, it'll be a few minutes before I get to you." She was very apologetic when she got back on. I said, no problem, no problem. She recognized my voice, and she called me Diet Dr. Pepper with strawberry because she knew my drink. I pulled around the corner to the thing, and in tears, she said, I needed someone to be nice to me today. I needed someone to be nice to me today. Fast forwarding that story, about now, this was a month ago. I was doing one of my favorites, same fancy meals over there. And I pulled up and she said, can I talk to you for a second? I'm just in the drive-thru and she goes, yes. She goes, I just found out my sister passed away. I needed someone that I could tell that to that would care. What I'm telling you as a community, we have a focus in our communities as we create design, elements, dialogue, is we've got to find a way for people to connect with each other more. So let me tell you one more learning. I have a now 6-month-old grandbaby. I noticed when she was 3 months old, little Emma, if I turned my head from her, what would Emma do? Just us. At 3 months old, she noticed if I was looking at her. I was talking to a child psychiatrist last night on the phone as referring for an event that I'm going to tonight. There is no research that shows that we ever go past the need to be seen. One of our fundamental challenges in our communities is that people are not being seen. They're being isolated, they're alone. We design parks with park benches sometimes far away from each other. We know that our parents are on the phones instead of watching their kids. But I'm saying if we talk about your community, what do we do to help people be seen? How do we help people connect with each other? Let me give you a couple more data points and I'll open up for questions. There are two main principles that I have in all the research I've read that seem to come to two main things that make a difference of a quality neighborhood. And use this data as the back. The number one thing that's essential in neighborhoods is the number of neighbors that know each other. That's one of them. And that alone, Robert Putnam was the first to research this, that alone lowers crime. Neighbors know each other, lowers crime, and it lowers EMS phone calls. Neighbors know each other. The second point that we often forget is the feeling of self-efficacy. The belief that that person themselves has the ability and the tools to make a difference, that their voice matters, that they matter. So it's not a matter of us just going and providing a service, it's giving those neighbors that feeling that they have some sort of control. So those are the two things that affect neighborhoods. Those same things that affect neighborhoods are the same things that will ultimately affect a child's success in school. The more adults that know a child's name, the better they are, the more, there's tons of research, the more successful they're going to be. So I'm giving you all sorts of data about where we are in Utah County. I do have, and I would normally not share publicly, some city-specific data on some of these areas that I want. But if you want to talk more behind the scenes about what we see in some data. But I am telling you that with great certainty that our communities are not seeing each other the way they used to, that people are less connected, and people are more isolated. Let me give you one more little piece on isolation that I want to carefully say because I don't want to get stuck in a political fight, but I'll say the concept. As we started creating lots and lots of choices for schools for kids, we did not compensate for that by parents and kids knowing each other. So it used to be on your street, all the kids knew each other because they went to the same elementary school, and all the moms and dads knew each other because they went to the same PTA.
Yep.
That's not happening anymore. I'm not going to get into the argument good or bad on that, but I will say we as communities have not figured out how to compensate for that. So our communities are not as well connected as they used to be. Our kids are not as well connected as they used to be. And that's very dangerous for the future of our kids. Am I wrong on that one?
Oh, you're exactly right. The neighborhood school model has social benefits.
And I'm not trying to say we have to go back to that. I'm just saying we have to figure out how to compensate for it.
Zillion's a podcast on this. You know, Brian is keeping up a bowling league. Congratulations. People used to do that. Very few people do that.
I'm alone. Yep.
People used to go to church more often than they do now. They used to participate in a lot of activities. They don't because they're doing this.
And even since COVID, we have not recovered since COVID, our connections. People got too comfortable with the lack of connection. I might add the research on the isolation applies to introverts as much as to extroverts. Questions, comments, thoughts?
Okay, question.
Love questions.
So, and I know you say you have it, we'll get it from you, but I would be very interested in how you did your survey, if you targeted certain areas of Orem.
Our survey would not have been, it would have been stratified by city, but not by areas within the city.
Okay.
So we stratified, we did a weighted average across the entire county. Other data pieces that we do know is that our higher growth areas have greater disconnections. And that's even countering economic.
And I'm asking this because just last week I had someone say to me, you know, I've got these whatever apartments in my area, I can't even get in the door to go leave.
You're getting me where I get myself in trouble here, but Bryn likes when I get myself in trouble. Jerry likes me more when I get myself in trouble. There are design elements that we need to keep thinking about, literally, how it creates community, how we connect with people. More and more people want the gated communities, et cetera, whatever, but the need to connect. There's still lots of sociologists telling us where the disconnection started. Television in 1963, the mass penetration. Some say it's the clothes dryer that kept us inside. Some say it's air conditioning. One of my favorites is the automatic garage door opener. How many of us have ever, this is a quick survey here. How many of you have ever seen somebody coming across the street to say hi, and you're kind of tired, you pull into your garage, you say, I'm going to pretend I didn't see them and close the garage door. Am I alone?
Just with salesmen.
Just with salesmen. But I'm just saying, so let me give you my response on this. We had to proactively create a culture that saying hi is okay again, that connecting is okay again. We have to give people more permission to connect. We have to teach them how to connect, and we have to create opportunities to connect. That's why I think your food festival sounds fantastic.
Say something on that. So we spent some time up at a hospital in Salt Lake a couple of years ago, and it was really interesting. They actually put up a sign that said, at 5 feet you smile, at 10 feet you say hello, or 10 feet you smile, 5 feet you say hello. And I was like, because we're all walking down the hall just dealing with our own issues, right? But it was so interesting how important that connection was in that arena too, just to smile to me.
I think the idea of being courtesy way makes a lot of sense, but the idea that we have to start teaching people in public modeling behavior that we say hello and smile to everybody, that the people in the parks as they're mowing the lawns are waving. It takes a small number to change the tipping point on that. But all the data shows that we've gone the wrong way.
I guess the big takeaway for me and why we have Bill come back every couple of years and share this information is because we often talk about events, communication, parks, that those are quote unquote quality of life, but in fact, they are becoming more and more did. And so what we're doing as a city to provide these connection points, to provide these opportunities for our community to come together, it isn't just a want, it isn't just a nice thing. It's a real need that provides real benefit to our residents and really in unquantifiable ways.
It's so well stated. I mean, it will affect your educational outcomes. The city has been very involved in trying to improve educational outcomes and change the districts. It will affect health outcomes. It will affect crime outcomes if we can do some of those things. And the key in all, so I love it, for example, when the fire department has time to pull a fire engine into a neighborhood and saying, we're going to be here tomorrow afternoon for an hour and let everyone come out and see it. That doesn't just only build the fire department. Help neighbors connect. It's called triangulation, and that people need an inanimate or purpose, something to meet at. Other thoughts, questions, complaints? I'm going to throw any stones at me or?
I think you're not nice to walk into your garage.
That's right. I only do with you, Tom. Yeah. Yes.
Like outline or best practices.
It's multiple levels. The one level is the design element. So it's making sure that parks are not just designed for formal group, but designed for intimate. A simple example is you put two park benches like this right next to each other, instead of spacing them around. You put them like this so that they can talk to each other. So mom can say, "Is that your kid? That's cute." I mean, that kind of a thing. So design process, that matters. The second thing is probably teaching and encouraging your teams to find ways to interact in more than ever before. And so I'm going to pick on the fire department for a second. Do you mind if I usually pick on the police, but I'm going to pick on the fire. When I go to Smith's quite regularly here, I'll see some of your firefighters buying groceries. Say, oh, by the way, you're buying groceries, don't be afraid just to say hi to people anonymous as you walk through the aisles. Teaching the library just to make sure that they're making a greeting. I mean, I go to Disney a lot because my daughter works for Disney. They'll wave at you, they say hi to you. If we could have a whole community culture of our staffs doing that, with the public workers are working on if we could find a way just to create that culture of we're friendly, we say hi, we engage people, we smile. That's your second point. The third thing is you have to keep giving permission to connect. You have to keep reminding people how this is essential, whether it be having campaigns to get to know your neighbor, whether you have a contest to get to know your neighbor. What we forget is the neighbor of proximity, the neighbor of place still matters. The neighbor of place has been replaced by many by technology, et cetera. One interesting sidebar on that, I mean, this is, if you think I stepped in something to talk about schools, let me throw one more thing here, talk about families. Sometimes our overly family culture excludes others. In the respect that, I mean, if you think my house, who do I have over my house on Sunday dinner? My kids. And so I've been trying to figure out how do I mean, of course I want my kids over, but maybe I could invite another family over occasionally also. But I mean, if you think about our culture, we're so good on that one. And that maybe we can kind of open that door, that circle just a little bit, make that circle a horseshoe. I've probably taken, I know you have meetings starting, so I want to let you know that we appreciate, I know most of you here. I've enjoyed working with you. You probably know by now I'm very restless on these topics. Last week, believe it or not, Brandon, was my 42nd anniversary with you. And thank you, Tom. And I am still restless. And let's just make sure as we grow bigger that we grow better. But I think Orem City, I cannot think of a city who's better positioned to address some of these issues. This has been your focus around families. This has been your focus around community. I would love to engage with you, Jeanette, away from anything that we have learned as I have been a student of neighborhoods for the last 40 some years. We can be a better community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
All very, very good information.
You want a copy of this or?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to run.
You thank you, everybody.
All righty. Go ahead and wrap up here. Jim, do you want to
Several things you've seen. So Defense Commission, you just saw their taste of Orem, said we're gonna be, so they're still kind of trying to get their feet under them, that they transitioned from community led to now maybe a little bit more city leadership in there. So this will be fun for their first event. The National Resources Advisory Commission, we met last week. It was a great discussion with Bryce. Shared about plans for this area here between the library, well, the library area, outdoor area where the nursery is going to be. He solicited engagement from that commission to give advice and think about how we could make it more sustainable and engage the community there, which is great. And then our youth council met for the first time last week, which was really fun to see all of the different students from all the different schools across the community. And they were excited and energetic. And we played a fun game about trivia for Orem. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do this year. I think they're planning a visit to council meeting one day. So we will get to see them and smile at them. So that's the summary.
Okay. Thank you. That was a record.
Yes.
Pick a page from Peter's book.
Yeah, we'll run through the agenda tonight. So it's a nice agenda. It's fairly short. Sort of runs over actually. So.
5.
What?
405.
Not quite that short.
Better guess. That's like.
Not even going there.
Actually, that's a good guess. If you go to a session, is where we go sideways.
Was that still on the agenda, Vegas?
Make it 7. Buy everybody ice cream.
Okay, so.
Hey, Gary just offered ice cream if we get.
Oh, really?
Gary, you gonna hold to that?
You gonna hold it sidebar?
You're out at 7. I'll bring ice cream.
Including the closed session, or that doesn't count?
That doesn't count.
He gets to go home. He doesn't have to come to.
I don't have to go to the closed door session.
That's a bad bet.
Help me win, Gary. Help me win.
All right.
We need to tell you our favorite ice cream flavor now.
So we've got item 8, mayor's report items by council. We've got a presentation from Mark Sanderson about life-saving recognition. 8.2 presentation 9/11 day of service. 8.3 presentation myHometown. And 8.4 presentation the summer reading wrap up.
Did Brent talk to you about the, it's later on?
No, it's right.
Okay. Oh, I need to move that over here.
Thanks. I didn't hear it. That's all.
Right, because I didn't say it. So
That's why I didn't hear it.
we're on the same page. So yes, there'll be a tribute to Andy Jacobs.
You might recall I tried to do that 2 weeks ago, but his family wasn't here. I'm going to do that today. His family's supposed to be here.
Okay.
And we might just have them stand, Mayor, or something to that effect afterwards. I don't think they want to stand through the tribute, but maybe you can have his widow stand and just say, you could express condolences.
Just to recognize.
Yeah.
Before you.
No, I think when I'm done, just say, or whenever you'd like to, Mayor.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have you do it. Well, okay.
Do you want me to do the recognition of her too? Do you want me to have her
Why don't you
stand?
just take it?
Okay, I'll take care of the whole thing.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, so and we'll do you first. You'll be item 8.1.
Right after the pledge.
Yeah, okay.
Or, yeah, the pledge.
Then we got item 9, personal appearances. You better be hoping there's a lot of people so you can win this bet.
I'm gonna go sign up.
You only get 3 minutes.
I'll help you pay for the ice cream, Karen. Don't worry.
And item 10, consent items, approval of meeting minutes from August 26th. A reappointment, Public Works Advisory Commission, and an ordinance, business license revocation amendments. And then item 11C, manager information items, and then we'll adjourn to a closed session in the Summit Conference Room. There you have it. So we'll adjourn to our city council meeting.
Thank you.
I'll look you up.
It was literally like.
Okay.
Thank you.
Doing good. It's okay. Sorry. How are you getting enough sleep?
Fun time.
Day another dog.
Times now.
Y'all's, but I'm.
Yeah. No way.
How
are you doing? Good, how are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to show you around. Plug into this.
Okay.
That'll. Yeah. Either one.
Oh, it's
David Pyre.
I'm doing great. Yeah, when are you gonna get up on the top level here?
No. Hop over here.
Am I sitting in your chair? That's your phone. Yeah, it's always like that.
I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight, and we'll call this meeting to order. We'll start out with an invocation from Todd Covington, followed by a pledge of allegiance by our fire and honor guard. And I invited, or actually my wife invited Todd to come tonight for the opening prayer. And Todd, we met on one of our ribbon cuttings. It was for the Foot Solutions. Yes, it was shoe store, Foot Solutions. It was for Foot Solutions. Anyway, so that's kind of a random occurrence, except he was able to help us out with our foot needs for our Foot Solutions. And ever since then, we've been friends. So ran into him, my wife did, and she's one of his big fans, and invited him to give our prayer tonight. So he's a good member of the community. So if you'd like to come up and give the opening prayer. Thank you, Todd. Now we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance by our Fire and Police Honor Guard. Thank you. Thank you for that with our fire and police. Do a great job. Tonight we'll start off with items 8-1 through 8-4. And we've got a special tribute that Tom McDonald would like to make.
Thank you. I'm happy to pay a tribute to Andrew Dwayne Jacobs, although no one called him that, to Andy Jacobs. His family is here with us. Could they please stand for a moment just so you know who they are? I won't ask you to stand through my whole reading, but we'll recognize you maybe again at the end, please. Thank you. If you go ahead and sit down. I'd like to take a moment today to honor the life and legacy of Andrew Dwayne Jacobs, a beloved lifelong resident of Orem City, who passed away last month at the age of 50. Though his time with us was far too short, Andy's impact on the community was immeasurable, a legacy more than worthy of a full-time life. Andrew's greatest devotion was to his family. He leaves behind his beautiful wife and best friend, Cammie, the love of his life, along with their 4 children, Sydney, Maya, Cam, and Ty, and 2 in-laws, Braden and Ashton, and 1 grandson, Oli, and a grandson, Cooper, who arrived shortly after Andy's passing. His family was his pride and joy, and his love for them was at the very center of his life. Andy's love for running became a lifelong passion and the foundation of countless relationships, life lessons, and opportunities to serve. The journey began when he was just 8 years old, when he won the age group at the Ronald McDonald 5K run. From then on, he was hooked. He ran with the Orem City Track Club, where he first met Cammie, and later competed for Orem High School's cross-country and track teams. All 4 years after graduation, he continued his running career at Utah Valley, proudly competing on their very first men's cross-country team. In 2004, Andy returned to Orem High School as a coach for the cross-country and track teams. For over 20 years, it became his second home, and I witnessed him running with the students, not just riding a bike by their side. During those years, Andy's positive influence extended well beyond the track at Orem High. In the past few weeks, Orem High School has received numerous phone calls from schools and organizations across the western United States, relating how the now vacant role Andy had played in their lives, schools, and organization. On the field, Andy's competitors considered him, quote, a pain in the butt, as quoted from a rival coach at a vigil held at Orem High Track last month. Andy was indeed a very successful coach, winning multiple state titles and sending many athletes to the next level. But as much as he loved winning, Andy took a role much larger than that. His athletes meant the world to him, and he was far more than a coach to them. He was a mentor, a role model, and for many, a father figure. He invested not only in their athletic development, but also in their growth as human beings. Andy's encouragement, energy, and belief in others brought out the best in everyone he came in contact with, and he will always be remembered as one of the greatest coaches of our time. His influence touched thousands of lives, from the many youth of Orem and their parents and families, to the fellow coaches and competitors, as well as friends and those he associated with in his professional and church service. His day-to-day interactions, uplifting, thoughtful, and grounded in genuine care, are what made Andy unforgettable. His enthusiasm was contagious, his optimism unshakable, his love for people unmatched. In honoring Andy, we're reminded of the challenge he leaves with each of us to fill his running shoes, not in miles, but in kindness, encouragement, and everyday positivity. Andy Jacobs will be forever remembered as one of the greats, a cherished citizen of Orem City who ran the race of life with unmatched heart and left us all better for knowing him. We invite everyone to love like Andy. Family, could you stand one more time as we recognize you and him, and we'll engage in a little hand clapping and unreverent behavior. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for giving me that opportunity.
Thank you, Tom. We appreciate that, and we wish Andy's family our condolences. We'll move on to item 8.1. This is a recognition, a life-saving recognition, and our Fire Chief, Mark Sanderson, will present.
We know how to save lives, but we don't know how to turn microphones on. So Mayor, Council, Mr. Bybee, thank you for this opportunity. You can see we've packed the room with a number of caregivers for a very special event tonight. Mayor, given the challenge, while providing our department the necessary support to be the best department in the state, it's my honor to kick off this life-saving recognition award tonight. First and foremost, my thanks and gratitude goes out to the men and women of Orem Fire Department. Each one of them are exceptional people as well as outstanding caregivers. Our people truly save lives. It's my opportunity this time to also thank the family and spouses of those that are in attendance tonight. It's because of their support for our individual employees that give us the opportunity to deliver the services that we do. At this point, I'd like to turn some time over to Chris Shields. She currently works for HCA out of Timpanogos Hospital, and she's going to walk us through the event that's taken place that brings us here tonight.
That kind of moves, turns really easy. Good evening. Mayor Young and city council members, if the chief of police, Chief Adams, if he is here, Orem Fire and Orem community members, thank you so much for letting us be here. We are so grateful that we're here. My name is Chris Shields, and I'm the Director of EMS Relations, and I work for HCA Healthcare and Timpanogos Hospital. We are honored to be here tonight to recognize the incredible teamwork and life-saving efforts that directly impacted a member of the local community. Tonight, we will celebrate the coordinated response and care provided by two bystanders that were on the Timpanogos Trail, dispatchers, Orem Police Department, Orem Fire Department, the crew and the Critical Care Paramedic Squad, Timpanogos Hospital Emergency Department, Cath Lab, and ICU. But most importantly, we honor the patient, David Snow, and his wife, Carla Kay, and their family. In most professions, when saving lives is part of a daily routine, many of our heroes shy away from the spotlight. But tonight we pause to celebrate a personal victory, a life saved, a husband, father, grandfather, and friend. On June 24th, 2025, David Snow, a passionate cyclist, had big plans to celebrate his 61st birthday. He decided to kick off the day with a 61-mile bike ride, 1 mile for every year of life. Before heading out, he called his wife, Carla Kay, to let her know his plans. An afternoon ride, a shower, and then dinner for the whole family to celebrate that evening. But life had another plan. About 30 miles into his bike ride, David stopped at a local business to refill his water bottles and to chat briefly with family. He felt strong and energized and excited to finish the ride. He called Carla Kay to check in, and then he hopped back on his bike. 2 miles later,
Can you just pause for 1 second? We've got a microphone issue.
does that one work? Oh, yes. That one works. Okay. 2 miles later, everything changed. David began to experience chest pain. He stopped immediately and called Carla Kay, telling her that he didn't feel well and he needed for her to come and get him. He described his location as the mouth of the canyon, but couldn't give an exact address. Carla Kay quickly headed toward the Canyon View Park, hoping to find him. That afternoon, Susanna Trenzner considered going for a ride. It was hot outside and she debated whether it was a good idea. Ultimately, she decided to go. She chose a trail that she hadn't been on for 2 years and one that she knew very, very well before her LDS mission. Susanna's watch was broken that day, so she brought her phone with her on the run, something she normally doesn't do. She started out with a specific turnaround point in mind. But when she reached that point, she decided to continue a little farther to the water fountain that she liked along the trail. These decisions to go for a run despite the heat, to bring her phone, and to extend her route slightly ultimately placed her at the exact location where someone needed immediate help. At Canyon View Park, Carla Kay, David's wife, had just arrived. She called David again. Carla Kay, where are you? Can you walk out? David, no, call 911. Carla Kay, I don't know where you are or how to send a 911 to you. David, I'm on the path in the canyon. Meanwhile, Kevin O'Keefe, another trail goer, noticed David lying on his back on the side of the trail next to the bike. Concerned, he approached and asked David if he needed help. David replied that his wife was on her way to pick him up. David offered to help locate her and began heading down the trail to find Carla Kay. As Susanna was running, she saw David laying on the trail on his back with his hand on his chest. He looked tired, sweaty, and didn't look right. She continued running for about 20 to 30 seconds, but had an increased sense of uneasiness that something was wrong. So she turned around and returned to where David was lying. She asked David if he was okay. He said no, but a guy just left to go find my wife. That guy was Kevin. Just after that conversation, she heard a troubling sound, gurgling. It appeared like David was having a seizure. She immediately called 911 at 3:33 p.m. Kevin also heard this gurgling and quickly returned to David. Susanna's 911 call was answered by dispatcher Heather Fenn. With Susanna's phone on speaker, Heather guided Kevin through steps to begin CPR on David while dispatcher Brittany Farrell dispatched units including Orem Fire to the scene at 3:36. Carla Kay pinned David's phone location and began walking toward him on the trail. She was only 0.2 of a mile away. As she got closer, she saw a woman on the phone and a man performing CPR. In her heart, it sank, and she knew that it was David. Carla Kay stood overlooking CPR being done on her husband, something that none of us can imagine. After approximately 8 minutes, Officer Steenblick arrived and immediately took over chest compressions. Susanna and Carla stood together, waiting as additional help arrived. Officer Robinson assisted by directing the EMS crew to David's location on the trail. At 3:43, 10 minutes after David went into cardiac arrest, Orem Fire personnel arrived on scene and assumed care. While Orem Fire crews provided emergency care to David, Carla Kay remained nearby with Susanna, who was providing support. David was unresponsive as the crew and the critical care paramedics worked to stabilize him. Shortly after Carla Kay, her 2 brothers and daughter arrived on scene. The family stood together, visibly distressed, and watched as the efforts to save Dave's life. Approximately 20 minutes after Kevin began CPR, the fire captain approached Carla Kay to provide the update. He explained with compassion and professionalism that the team had been doing everything possible to resuscitate David. Per protocol, they would continue efforts for a few more minutes before considering termination of resuscitation. At that point, the crew had already performed multiple advanced life-saving interventions, including the use of the Lucas, the mechanical CPR device, 2 defibrillation shocks, intubation, IV and IO access, and administration of several critical medications. CPR had been going for a total of 27 minutes. Just prior to calling the efforts, things changed. At 4 o'clock, David regained a pulse and a blood pressure. It had been 27 minutes since David suffered cardiac arrest. CPR had been performed continuously from the moment it began at 3:33, and now, against all odds, ROSC, return of spontaneous circulation, was achieved. It was nothing short of a miracle. The crew quickly stabilized David and carefully packaged him for transport. At 4:07, they began transport to Timpanogos Hospital Emergency Department. En route, they placed David on a ventilator and continued all of the treatment that they had started on scene. The crew quickly notified the ED and provided a full report. David was trying to breathe and move on his own. They arrived at Timpanogos emergency room at 4:13, where the critical care team was already assembled and prepared to take over. In the ED, David was trying to breathe and move. The ED doctor obtained an EKG, which revealed a STEMI, or an acute heart attack. The decision was made to activate the cath lab immediately, as well as the cardiologist. In the ED, David was given medications for heart arrhythmias, low blood pressure, and a very low pH. He was stabilized and sedated prior to the cath lab. David was taken to the cath lab, which revealed a 100% occluded LAD, or better known as the Widowmaker. David received 2 stents to restore blood flow to the heart. David was then admitted to the ICU, where he underwent therapeutic hypothermia to protect his brain following cardiac arrest. On June 26th, David was taken off sedation and was extubated. He continued to improve while in the ICU and was discharged after being in the ICU for 9 days to the neuro rehab unit. Tonight, we express our sincere gratitude to everyone involved in David's care, from the bystanders who quickly acted to the dispatchers, Orem Police Department, Orem Fire and Critical Care Team, and the medical teams at Timpanogos Hospital Emergency Department, Cath Lab, and ICU. Your skill, coordination, and compassion saved a life and kept a family whole. We are here to recognize a remarkable outcome and the collective effort that made it possible. David's survival is a direct result of timely action. From Carla Kay's determination to find him, Susanna's decision to return back to David and call 911, Kevin's immediate CPR, and the tireless work of Orem Fire and the critical care medics. David, I can assure you that you had the best fire department and team working on you that day in the state. Thank you for your service and dedication. This moment is a powerful reminder of the impact that you make every day. We would now like to have Orem Fire Command staff come up here on my right and line up right here, as well as our CEO from Timpanogos, Andrew Zenger, and our COO, Landon Bate, and our CNO, Katie King. And then Lon. You come up here. Okay. And as we call your name, if you could please come up and remain standing in front of the city council. Right now. But if I don't know if Kevin is online. Kevin, the bystander that first started CPR, he is from St. George, and he was unable to be here. But from there, I know. But if we could have Susanna, if we could have her come up, she called 911. Dispatcher.
So we, the fire department, we would actually also like to present some awards. We recognize Susanna's Tressner's efforts as well as Kevin O'Keefe, and would like to take this opportunity to recognize them. Our award criteria is very specific for the fire department. Things are usually pretty regimented. It says this: these awards are reserved for citizens' remarkable actions through a display of courage and boldness in the presence of a difficult challenge, when the citizen took action to save a life or attempted to save a life and to prevent further injury. Susanna, you and Kevin absolutely filled that role. You did that day. We appreciate you turning around and going back. I don't know what triggered you to do that, but you did. And that made every bit of difference. Chief Sanderson, please present that award to Susanna. Kevin's will have to get to him in that trip you're talking about, and I'll hold you to it. So the services that we render from the fire department to delivery of the patient in the hospital, there are many players that come together to make things work, to make things successful. Dispatchers are a part of that link. I would like to recognize at this time two dispatchers, Heather Fenn and Brittany Farrell. If they're here, if they could come to the front. Heather, Brittany, thank you for your contributions that day. I can tell you from experience, there's nothing more priceless than a good dispatcher. And you guys both know that, I'm sure. And so thank you. Those awards actually have a letter of commendation from the Orem Fire Department as well as recognition from the hospital. And for time's sake, we kind of kept those together. Moving on. All fire departments are not created equal. Due to the support of all of you, our council, the support of our city manager and members of our exec staff, our very own Chief Sanderson, and the programs that we utilize in addition to all this, our critical care paramedics, this support and this program here in Orem, the critical care program specifically, fosters the utilization of 18 procedures, tools, and medications other fire departments simply do not have. We're able to deliver services that truly set us apart, rendering an elevated level of treatment and care. David Snow, you sitting here with us today attest of this. Our people, their training, their dedication that we see every day as administration, that every one of our members has, is something to be proud of. And our human resource has proven to be our most valuable asset that we have. This, along with the solid relationship we have with the hospital, Timpanogos Hospital, allows us the success we have seen with this program. I would like to invite the following fire department individuals and recognize them to the front. Again, for time's sake, we've included and combined their awards with Timpanogos Hospitals. Captain Steve Trejo, if you're here, please come to the front. Captain Jesse Steiner, please come to the front. Engineer Jared Rosequist, your presence is requested. Critical care paramedic Dane Erickson, I know you're here, I saw you. Critical care paramedic Blake Odekirk. Paramedic Ryan Garside. And our very own advanced EMT Jason Garn, who's actually going to paramedic school right now. So let's give these gentlemen a round of applause. turn the time back over to Chris Shields.
Thanks, Lon. These guys are the best. You guys are the best. Seriously. Okay. We also would like to recognize the police officers that were there. I think they're both here tonight. If we could get Master Officer Steenblank, did I say that right? Close enough. If he could come, he was the officer that took over CPR. And then Officer Robertson, he was the officer that guided Orem Fire to the scene. We would also like to acknowledge the teams at Timpanogos Hospital who played a vital role in David's care, including, if I could also have you come up, including the emergency department staff, the attending emergency room physician, and ED leadership. The cardiac cath lab team. And the ICU. Wow, what a great group. If we can just kind of all circle right here, that would be great. So, Dave, I'm sure that maybe you recognize some of these people. This was not just another save. You are really a true miracle, and those that are here would say the same. I don't know anybody that's had CPR done for 27 minutes and survived and been as good as you. So it's just such a wonderful, wonderful miracle. There were so many parts in this story that I have not mentioned that were tender mercies of God. There are truly angels amongst us that are placed here in paths at certain times to be there to help others. I truly believe in this story that happened. Dave, we would like to introduce you to the team that saved your life that day. Yes.
Picture of them up here.
Yeah. If we can get him. Yeah.
Get a great big picture.
Biggest picture of all time is gonna happen tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go too deep and squeeze
Mm-hmm.
everybody.
Everyone. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
His wife.
Oh, so nice.
Maybe you take a knee or you're gonna have to squeeze that point.
Yeah, really squeeze up.
On the end.
Oh. All right, if we get Dave and his wife in the front right here, And then everybody with, Mark, do you want to come over with you guys or you? Okay. All right.
Let's get in on this side a little more. Nice to get.
Now we need a little bit more squeeze on the edge. Okay. Especially over here, these guys got to be real close. All right, we're just missing you two on the end here. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Mayor, thank you for this opportunity. It's amazing the things that guys do. One last thing for everybody that's here for this event, we've created a little social upstairs with some refreshments. If after, I just want to turn some time over to Andrew Singer, he's the Timpanogos CEO, just to say a few things, and then we'll excuse everybody to go upstairs and socialize. So, Andrew.
I just want to mention one thing.
Yeah, please.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been an incredible presentation, and it's incredible to see all these different groups come together with all the training and work. And I mean, these guys work all the time. They train on this stuff, and to see the fruits of their labors is amazing. And this isn't the first time. I mean, we've seen this over and over and over again, but this is amazing. But I just want to mention that Susanna that went back to help wherever you are, she's one of Mandy's runners that Tom memorialized earlier. So it kind of goes full circle here. But anyway, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. Certainly, it feels like we should just end it right now. There's not much more that I can add. We could just wrap it up truly. That would be more than fine. So just a few remarks. So I'm new to my role, just here as the CEO of Timpanogos Regional Hospital on practically week 2. And this event is something that I just found out about not too long ago by nature of me just starting, and so was very excited to be here and to participate. And when I talked to Chris about the event and I said, hey, I'd love to hear the story, learn about what I'm going through and what's going to take place, she said, no, you need to hear this for the first time here. I promise it won't disappoint. And that certainly has been the case as I've been able to listen and hear about the events that transpired and those individuals that were involved. And certainly as the CEO of the hospital, of course, I want to give kudos to my team and the life-saving work that they performed on this particular case and for David and what they perform on a daily basis. Our mission is that above all else, we're committed to the care and improvement of human life. And we can't fulfill that mission without our partners in the first responders with EMS and our fire departments. And so Chris mentioned and described this whole event as truly a miracle. We work with miracle workers every day and just express my sincere gratitude to our staff and to our first responders as well. And thank you for letting us come today.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for that presentation. Next, we've got item 8.2, and this is our 9/11 Day of Service that's coming up. We've got Carrie Rugg.
I know how to clear a room. That's really impressive. And I told Chief Sanderson it's never fair to be the person that draws the stick to go after them. But aren't we so lucky to get to serve and work with these amazing employees in the city that give everything that they have to our community? And I'm not crying, you are. So
Mayor and Council, the 9/11 Day of Service of Remembrance is an annual observance that encourages Americans to honor the victims and heroes of the September 11th terrorist attacks through charitable service and good deeds. The concept was originally founded in 2002 and later federally recognized under the Edward M. Kennedy Service America Act in 2009. The goal is to transform the anniversary from a day of tragedy into a day of positive action, embodying the spirit of unity and compassion that emerged in the aftermath of the attacks. Orem has been participating in this effort for many years, and we're excited for the following service projects on Saturday, September 13th. The Vineyard Shoreline Trails Cleanup, the Sierra and the Sierra Shell Cleanup, Nilson's Grove Park Cleanup, Foothill and Palisade Park Cleanup, Sharon Stake Celebration of Service, and Kids on the Move Service Project. We invite you and the public to sign up for any of these projects at justserve.org and search for Orem Vineyard 9/11 Day of Service. We would look forward to being part of this service mindset that Orem residents are known for as a Just Serve community. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Next, we've got item 8.3, and Carrie, you're still here, and Jim Barry.
Yes, Jim, if you wouldn't mind coming up. We are really excited, and I know all of you are aware of this already, but we opened up another myHometown neighborhood recently, and this really aligns with your goals of making more connected neighborhoods in our community, and we appreciate your support in these efforts. And as we learned in the work session, that's something that's very important for our community. So I'd like to turn the time over to Jim Barry to discuss a little bit about our new neighborhood.
Thank you. Mayor, City Council, I'm delighted to be with you and others. It's kind of hard after the great story we just heard. I'm glad I was here to hear that. So I'm delighted to be able to tell you a little bit about this new community. As we stand here tonight, at 6:30, the new community started their community resource center and their teaching classes as we speak. So it started about 6-8 months ago with 2 people that were called to be the executive directors. We now have over 75 people, both missionaries and volunteers, serving in that new community. And you may have heard about their grand opening. Debbie D'Amico called it an Orem NATO. And so the skies just opened up and blew everything away, but they put everything back together, and there were over 700 people that came. So it was a very successful grand opening. Then last Thursday, they had an open house at the CRC. About 60 of the volunteers and missionaries were there to give tours through the building and show them where all the classes were. And at this point, they have 95 students that have signed up for classes. So together, the 2 communities that we have over, just this year, we've put in over 10,000 hours of service. We've taught 322 students in all the classes. And of course, that's not counting the classes that just began. Each day of service, we've had over 200 people helping. And the days of service for Sharon Park will not begin mostly next year, but we'll open, we might have one in October because we've got the people called that are in charge of that. We worked in 20 unique homes, some of them more than once, and we have 9 more service projects that are planned for this Saturday. On the same day, all the other ones are going on. Some of the things that we've done so far. We had a donation of sod from a sod company in the valley. We have gone in an overgrown landscape and re-trimmed it down so that the homeowners who can't possibly do it themselves nor afford it could get it done. We've rebuilt and painted a deck, built a new fence, added a wheelchair ramp to a home, scraped a whole home in preparation to prime and paint, and we've also hauled away multiple appliances out in the front yard of one of our neighbors and took it to the junkyard. So the other part of it, we have the days of service, we have the community resource center, but we also have community activities. 2 or 3 that have happened recently. In the Geneva Heights community, they had flowers and French toast. It was sponsored by the Ashton Foundation and Cook's Nursery. There was the pool party at the pool. Thank you for supporting that activity, and myHometown helped to support that too. And they've had multiple potluck activities also for that community. So next year, when I stand up here, we'll probably at least double the hours that we've put in. And so the final thing is things are going really well in my hometown, Orem, Family City, USA. Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
I do have one comment to
Yeah.
make. I don't know if you remember this, but a year ago, when you came to present my hometown to the city council,
I can't
we
forget
had
that.
another weather event.
We did.
That was when the hailstorm hit
Right.
Orem. So I'm thinking that my hometown is just taking our town by storm in every new CRC we open. So thank you for all that you're doing.
There's opposition in all things. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, item 8.4, summer reading wrap up. Megan Flender.
Testing. I turned it on. Hello. This was a good night to be at a council meeting. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Meg Flinders Pay, and I am the programming librarian at the Orem Library. I'm excited to be here to report on the 2025 summer reading program, which wrapped up on August 1st and was a huge success. Our theme this year was Color Our World, and we celebrated with a focus on art and creativity. We had over 3,300 patrons register for the challenge this year, and in total they read over 3,254,459 minutes, which is the equivalent of reading for 6 years straight. So way to go to our community for reading that much. We also had over 30 programs over the course of 2 months. And during a busy summer of library construction, we had a lot of our programs off-site at Orem Parks and the Hillcrest Center, and the entire library worked really hard to ensure that we could continue bringing fun events to our community. So here are just a few highlights from this summer. We did our kickoff event at the Hillcrest Center, and patrons enjoyed a Color Our World story time and puppet show, the splash pad, and lots of games and activities. We also had a special appearance by Miro, and that's my daughter giving him a hug there. So I love that picture. We were also able to co-sponsor the beautiful and colorful butterfly house with the city events team that was featured at Orem Fest. And we had thousands of people visit in a single day. This was a great opportunity to promote summer reading to our community. We had some great events for our teens, and these were managed by our Council of Volunteer Teens that regularly meets at the library. They pulled off an incredible nailed it, failed it art night, and as you can see, I don't think there was a single fail in the group. They also took over the Timpanogos Park for a Saturday evening and made fairy gardens, played field games, and had a blast together in the mountains. And one of my favorite moments was when a song from the popular Netflix film K-pop Demon Hunters played on their event playlist, and all of them stood up and belted the song at the top of their lungs. It's always great to see the events our teens pull off together. We also had some great events for our tweens, including an event themed after the popular Wings of Fire series about colorful dragons, and we had over 120 tweens come to that program. And we didn't just provide the kids with the awesomeness of summer reading, we also held programs for adults, including an adults cut paper art night and a gallery show in Library Hall. Finally, we wrapped things up with our summer reading finale at the Sierra Pool, and about 1,300 people attended this exclusive event for summer reading challenge finishers. And we had a blast with a DJ who got people dancing in the shallow end of the pool, and we gave away over 100 prizes to our readers. Everyone who completed also earned the beautiful City of Orem coloring book, which was a huge hit. Summer reading encourages children and families to read more over the summer, to visit the library, and to have fun together. Our end of summer reading survey showed that 74% of patrons read more over the summer because of the program, and 92% said that they plan to do summer reading again. We also got some wonderful feedback from our community, and I wanted to share a few comments that our patrons provided us. One person said that the summer reading program provides wonderful family bonding activities each summer. And another said, the library summer reading program is practically like a family vacation because it's fun and provides many opportunities to hang out as a family. A parent expressed, I was having a hard time encouraging my son to read. Because of the reading program, he made a point to read for at least 30 minutes every day. As you can see, we had a great program this year, but we aren't planning to stop. So what's next? Summer Reading 2026, Unearth a Story. We're already hard at work on getting things ready for next year, when summer reading will be themed around paleontology and archaeology and all the wonderful stories to be found in the pages of our earth. Thank you to the mayor and city council, to all of the city staff, and to all of the library staff that support summer reading and make it possible each year.
Thank you, Megan. We appreciate that. And you guys are doing an amazing job at the library. The library's been getting better and better and better. And latest stats I saw show that the foot traffic in the last year is up 27%. And that's because of this and other types of programs that you guys are doing. So you're doing a great job bringing it up. Thank you. Next up, we have personal appearances, of which we have none. So we'll move to item 10, consent items. Approval of meeting minutes for August 26, 2025. Item 10.2, a reappointment to the Public Works Advisory Commission. That's Joseph Gordon, Robert Moore, Gary Morley, and Brent Tobler. And item 10.3, an ordinance, business license revocation amendments. So with that in mind, can I have a motion on the consent items?
I make a motion that we approve the consent items.
I second.
Aye.
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 Thank you. The consent items are approved. Next up, we have our city manager information items. Bren?
Yeah, so this Thursday is the annual day of service, and I will be quick. I'll make sure you get ice cream. I just want to mention that we'll have a couple hundred of employees out serving the community, doing various projects around the city. We heard a list of some of those. I just want to say there's plenty to be concerned about. We hear about some of those concerns, for example, in the community assessment earlier. But man, the answer is serving others and serving our community. So I am just proud to be part of the Orem team of servants, and proud to work with you. And we do absolutely have the best team of public servants in the state here in Orem. So thank you.
Thank you, Bren. All righty. Would someone like to make an...
Mayor, I'd like to do a 30-second announcement to adjourn to a closed-door session in the Summit Conference Room to discuss pending or reasonably intimate litigation, the character or professional competence of an individual, or the purchase or lease of real property. That's a motion.
Yes, I second it. Okay.
Aye. Aye.
Sorry.
Keep going.
Jeff?
Aye.
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 And again, aye. Thank you. Well, we will now adjourn to a closed session. Thank you all for
What was your
coming.
time, Gary?
No.
I have a comment.